Well, good evening, everybody. Happy Thursday. Thursday, Thursday. Drawing a fucking blank. As you can tell, got started a little bit early here. I got the one, the only, Branden from JustTheGems, and he's going to help my scrambled fucking brain. Hopefully, have a decent discussion because boy, it's been a day. In terms
I'm
of
gonna do my
gaming
best.
news. And what do you got? What do you got on the drink docket here this afternoon?
We got some of this sweet cognac. The remainders of this sweet cognac here.
I knew you were cognac guy, so I came prepared. Got the Hennessy XO, one of my favorites.
Oh, there you go.
Combined with a plum liqueur.
Really nice.
So I made a little bit of a mixed drink with this, and I'll tell you, I think I'm going to finish it off with some elderflower liqueur.
Oh,
so
I don't
plum
think I've had anything like
plum
that
liqueur,
before.
elderflower liqueur, and Hennessy cognac. And we're just gonna see what this clusterfuck produces. And here we go. God damn, that's good. So that worked out. That worked out really good. So, what have you been playing lately, man?
Boy, I tell you, this might be the same answer as I gave you the last time I was on. I think it was January the last time I was on, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
But I've been playing through the Trails series from the beginning all the way to the current release. I am almost through Trails of Cold Steel 4, which means I have gotten through almost nine games. Wait, yeah, 9 games. Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little bit slower paced. I just got through Trails from Zero.
Okay, great. Well, you only have the Switch, so you only got at Zero and Azure and Cold Steel 3 and 4, I believe. Well, no, Reverie. Yeah, Reverie.
And Reverie, yeah. Yeah, we kind of got the short end of the straw there, but I'll tell you what, Trails from Zero is an underrated fucking RPG. You want to talk about a gem?
Yes, it is.
Holy shit. I've never had so much fun playing as a fucking, like, police officer that chases, like, fucking lost cats and shit. Like, boy, they get going real fast into some real intrigue, man. And I love that the game, like, yeah, it's Lloyd and Ellie and it's and Randy and company and Tia. It's their story. I mean, it's their narrative, but it's really the city of Crossbell's story.
Right. 100%.
Like I said, when I first started playing it, I was getting some Ulysses, some James Joyce vibes. In terms of just the way that it's like a biopic of a city. And by the time you're done with that game, and there's a sequel, so I'm sure it gets even deeper into Crossbell, but you know everything there is to know about that city. You understand the people, you understand the landmarks, the places, the surrounding, how it gets its medicine, how it gets its food, the inner political turmoil, the way that the war has impacted the city and the way the city has impacted the coming war. It's extraordinarily fucking cool.
Yeah, it just one of the things that just continuously blows my mind about not just, I mean, Trails from Zero is a good example of it, but across the whole series is just that attention to detail as far as the NPCs go. There are hundreds of NPCs that have names and that have stories that are carried out over the course of each game that sometimes travel between games. And, you know, you can check in with these NPCs after every single, even minor event in the game, and they've got something new going on. And it's like, how do you write all that? How do you keep all of that straight? I remember when I played Zero for the first time, I was wandering around the city and I went into somebody's apartment because it's a JRPG. You can just walk into people's houses. It don't matter. Nobody locks their doors and they'll just talk to you if you walk in, whatever. And I found a lady who looked kind of familiar and she was talking about her daughters. And I was like, wait a minute. is this the mother of Noelle and Fran? Like the game didn't guide me to this person. There was no story reason that I needed to go there. I was just wandering around. And then I stumble upon the apartment of the mother of two pretty significant characters in the, like, I don't know, just like they thought of the place as real, and they made it feel real because they took it seriously and treated the characters as important and as having substance, you know?
Well, every game that I ever fall in love with, and at this point I can say I've fallen for Trails from Zero. And every game I've ever fallen for has, whether it's Mario Brothers 3, Zelda 2, Breath of the Wild, whether it's Morrowind, Star Control 2, Ultima 7, Disco Elysium, um, Fallout New Vegas, which is what I'm playing right now. Every game that I fall in love with, even more than story, has world building associated with it. Just expert level world building. And here's the magic about world building: if you build a good world, the story will write itself. If you build a world and a set of solid rules and a set of characters that inhabit that world, and you give each of those characters rules, they will build, like, your creations will literally build the story in a self-evident way. And I saw it with, I'm seeing it with Fallout New Vegas right now as I replay that, and I love it in Morrowind, which I finally pried myself off of, and I saw it in Trails.
Yeah. Trails is great too because the way they do their world building, you don't even realize they're building the world. Like it's completely in the background. It's completely
always is.
It's not the focus, but it's 100%. It's like, and it's remarkable to me because I've seen a lot of games and other types of media that try to have, you know, a rich world, but they put that world building stuff at the forefront, and it's like that's not how you do it. Like, don't let me see how the sausage is made. Just make it and let me enjoy it, you know?
Ernest Hemingway would do that. He famously had a writing technique known as iceberg theory. And that is that when he would write his novels, like you only saw a tiny bit of all the writing. He says that in every novel he ever wrote, most of his novel ended up on the goddamn floor at his feet around his desk, wadded up in bits of type.
Mm-hmm.
That's where most of his novel ended up. Doesn't mean that those details weren't important, but he literally would hash every story down to a razor polish on what you needed to hear, and everything else was background.
Yep. Because if the author knows the characters that well, then even if they're not explicitly saying all of these things that are in the character's history, it comes across and it feels consistent and it's constant.
Mr. 1000 Drafts himself, which is a way I write my reviews. I sympathize. Now, I write nowhere near 1,000 drafts. I'm not that much of a perfectionist. But I will go through, on average, my reviews will go through 5 or 6 drafts before I even get comfortable putting it out there. I've got to write it and rewrite it, then edit it, and then parse it, then cut it down, and then finally, last but not least, just do the plagiarism check. And a lot of work goes into it, which is why my fucking lazy ass hasn't produced one since like February.
Well, you kind of got derailed when your computer shat the bed, right?
I did, but it doesn't mean it doesn't mean I shouldn't get back on the horse at some point. You know, having just learned editing skills. I most certainly will. I most certainly will. We can't spend our entire life getting drunk, having fun conversations, right? Got to do some actual work every once in a while. Which I tell you what,
every now and then.
Yeah. Speaking of your video, you clean up nice. Clean up nice, brother.
Oh, thank you.
That thumbnail, that fucking thumbnail, that was great. Good video too, by the way.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So, now have you been sticking to it, because there's so many people and I'm sharing so much and watching so many videos. It's hard for me to keep track. Are you keeping to the 2 video a week format, or have you kind of scaled that back?
I haven't intentionally scaled it back. Just life has been exceedingly busy right now, and particularly work. Like, I don't have the time or the mental capacity to do more than 1 a week right now. But I would love to continue doing 2 a week. I really liked having, you know, kind of one more chatty, off the cuff video every week and one that's a little more like focused on a particular thing. So hopefully I can get back to that soon. I'm gonna have to like start stockpiling videos ready to go over the summer, because I'm going to be traveling a ton, and I don't want to like lose momentum,
Right. No, 100%. Now one of the games you mentioned just came out recently, actually, for the Switch in that video, and that was Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Oh man. So when I'm not playing New Vegas, I'm playing that. And
yeah.
Oh my goodness. I just got to the fight arena. So I just met like Rock Hawk and like that area, and I'm doing the arena and kind of slowly but surely working my way up to the championship. It might be one of the funnest segments I've ever done in a video game. That is such a neat section of that game. And
Yeah.
I got to tell you, Brandon, slowly but surely, the walls, my defensive walls against the GameCube are starting to come
down. I was gonna say, like, how does a GameCube hater appreciate this game?
Very carefully.
Sure.
Very carefully, and I am at this point.
Here's the thing:
I'm fully willing to admit,
yeah,
that the GameCube had some good games.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? And this is, I feel like people get defensive about their favorite consoles or their childhood consoles or whatever. But, every Nintendo console has had some incredible games. Like, Nintendo is amazing at making video games. Like, they almost 100% of the time knock it out of the park.
Even when it's not what we want. Even when it's not what we want.
Even if it's not up my alley, I can look at a game like, I know you like Pikmin 4. Like, it's not for me, but I can acknowledge that it's a good game. Like, it's a well-made game.
Right, and I do now. And again, I used to shit all over Pikmin. My reaction to Pikmin used to be, why the fuck is Nintendo EAD making this game? Why are we wasting EAD on this? Why can't we get some B or C team to do this shit? Because it's not like it's making Nintendo any fucking money. In terms of that big score. Yeah, Pikmin 4 definitely turned me around on that. I can't even shit on it anymore because it's very successful for a Pikmin game.
I was gonna say it did pretty well.
It did incredibly well. Yeah, same with Luigi's Mansion 3. Luigi's Mansion 3 came out in 12 million copies. It might be even more now.
But my broader point there is just, you look at a console like the GameCube or the N64 or the Wii U, and because Nintendo kind of flops at every other generation. Yep. So looking forward to the Switch too, by the way.
Yep, that's I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah, everybody's all just, man, everybody like, so many people are signed up.
They're gonna be snatching defeat from the jaws of victory here. I'm pretty sure.
I share your prediction, and again, I know I'm gonna get shit from OJ on this, but I'm sorry. It's that train is never late.
I mean, I want to be wrong. You know what I mean? I want to be wrong. Like, I would. It's best for everybody if we're wrong about this. But
this industry's going off a fucking cliff, homie. Did you see? Speaking of which, did you see your boys with that PlayStation showcase, with the PC showcase?
Yeah, man. I was talking with I was texting with a buddy just a while ago.
They do not get it. They do not.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, what they're showing isn't for me. But here's the thing. Here's the bigger problem, and I'm sure you are aware of this as well, but just for the purposes of discussion, like, what Sony and Microsoft are chasing is that stickiness that comes from a game like Fortnite, or I don't know, maybe Overwatch used to be. I think Overwatch has kind of fallen out of favor because of Overwatch 2 poisoning the well a little bit.
Also,
but Fortnite in particular,
Fortnite exists. It's done. It's already.
They want to create. They want to create. The next Fortnite or whatever. The problem is
the next Fortnite.
You're competing against Fortnite, which is literally the next Fortnite. They're continuing to develop and produce content for this game, and people have thousands and thousands and thousands of hours invested into this game, and their friends all play this game. You're not gonna beat Fortnite at its own game. You're just not.
From one executive manager to another, to the dumb motherfuckers that run Microsoft and Sony right now. Hey, guys, you want to build the next Fortnite? Yeah, you don't even have to answer. I know you do. It won't look like Fortnite.
Right.
It will look nothing like Fortnite.
It's gotta be solving a problem that people don't know they have right now. It's got to be scratching an itch that they can't feel yet, right?
Yep.
Like Fortnite came along at the best possible time, gave people the best possible experience in that genre that they could have, and that's it. Like that ship has sailed until Epic fucks it up somehow, and they could, like I said, Overwatch kind of got screwed up with the Overwatch 2 fiasco. They were riding high for a long time. They could still mess it up, but until they do, that genre belongs to them. It just belongs to them.
Mm-hmm.
Come up with something else, something that's sticky in a different way or stickier in a different way, but you're not going to beat them at their own game. You're just not. So when I see Concord as the first title they show in this direct, I'm like,
1/3.
It looks cute, guys. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to demean the develop. Like, it looks good. Like, it looks like a nice world, funny, Marvel-esque sort of thing. But it's not gonna beat Fortnite or any of the existing, 5v5 shooters.
Well, and specifically what I mean when I say they do not get it anymore is that you're not going to beat shit when you're also on PC. They don't get it. They don't fucking understand it. And what they don't understand, let me elaborate for the audience, because I think you understand where I'm coming from. Used to be that when Microsoft and Sony started this fucking Don Quixote project that they're on, it used to be that the PC was inaccessible. So I come from old school PC gaming background. PC gaming used to be hard, y'all. PC gaming, prior to Steam, PC gaming was hard. It was very hard. I'm talking about shit like, having to refresh modems, and I'm talking about having to use color wheels to log on to your game, and having to literally customize your fucking sound for each individual game. You have to play with your sound in order to get the sound reception right. PC gaming, there used to be a very high technical IQ associated with PC gaming. It's the entire reason consoles had a lane. Not really. It's the entire reason that Sony and Microsoft consoles had a lane, because consoles took a different trajectory than the PC. With consoles are really kind of it's kind of a blend of PC and arcade gaming. So arcade gaming went out of fashion years ago. It's that tactile, high octane action feel, integrated hardware and software. So the console does some of that. But the console also, because you're not in the arcade, you're at home, also allows for those larger, more expansive experiences that PC was known for at the time. There's a reason why The Legend of Zelda was called the best of both worlds by the Nintendo Fun Club newsletter. They called it the best of both worlds, and they called it an action RPG, action game, which you could only get at the arcade typically. RPG game, which at that time was the complete dominion of the PC, and it combined the best of both worlds. That's what the console did. Now, then I will argue, and I've said this for a long time, that Nintendo is currently the last console that the PlayStation made was the PlayStation 2, and the last actual goddamn console that the Xbox made was the Xbox 360. It was the last consoles those guys produced. And even the 360 and the PS3 were starting to get off. PS3, absolutely. But basically what they did is, somewhere along the line, when Microsoft succeeded in its goal of being a shield initiative to stop Sony from moving downstream into PC gaming space and threatening Windows, the golden goose, what ended up happening is that at that time, because of the complex nature of PC gaming, those two consoles had a lane. It made a lot of sense to just buy these boxes, even though at the time I recognized it immediately. Back in the 360 PS3 era, I was saying these are dumbed down PCs connected to a TV with a controller. I was saying that. That's what they were. But because of the technical IQ needed to play PC gaming, there was a high technical IQ associated with that. Those boxes made a lot of sense. But it's a different landscape today, guys. PC gaming is easier than it's ever been. It's an easy thing to get into PC gaming. Steam has made most PC gaming plug it and play, and most PC games aren't tailored to the maximum setup. Most are now tailored to the minimum setup. And so that's why all these games look the same. It's why all these games feel the same. They're not being developed for the strengths of the console boxes anymore. They're being developed for the minimum standards of PC and ported to these consoles, no matter what they claim to do. And so where the console was once the disruptor to PC, now they are the disrupted by PC. Old man rant over. What you think, Branden?
Yeah, PC gaming was a mysterious land for me when I was young. Like my first big PC game actually was Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I didn't do a ton. I mean, we had some like DOS games. We had some LucasArts point and click adventure games.
Chex Quest. Everybody played Chex Quest.
Prior to that, yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Chex Quest.
Yeah, well, I didn't have Chex Quest. No.
Oh, you've got to play Chex Quest.
No, I've seen quite a bit of it. I think I saw the Angry Video Game Nerd talk about that as well. But yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy VII was my first big PC experience, and my first experience with like the difficulties of getting a game to run on a PC. Because our computer was not built for any sort of 3D gaming at all. It was just not, it was a basic consumer PC from the late 90s.
Right.
And I ended up saving up my money and buying I don't even remember, 3DFX card or something for my PC, which in retrospect was stupid because I could have spent that money on a PlayStation and probably gotten the game for the same price that I paid for this 3DFX card. I don't know why I didn't do that.
Right.
But yeah, the barrier to entry to being able to play the game on PC, because I didn't have a PlayStation, was so high. And for a long time, I was like the opposite of PC Master Race. I was like, you PC folks are ridiculous. Why are you going through all of this pain constantly to be able to play your games? Like, get a console. They all just work. You put the game in it and it just works.
And that was a completely reasonable argument 10 years ago.
Sure, 100%. But now, I mean, even in the PS3, Xbox 360 era, Steam was coming into its own, and I even had Steam at the time. I didn't play a ton of games on PC, but I had the ability to, and it's crazy. Like, yeah, they've created an environment where, like everything you said, right? Like, it's so easy now. The biggest difficulty that purely PC gamers have is picking which store they want to use, and they throw a fit about that. They're like, Epic Game Store has an exclusive on this. You mean I have to download this exe file and in order to be able to play this game? I refuse. I'm putting my foot down. I'm not downloading that exe file.
What I want to
use this exe file.
What I will tell you about PC gamers is that is a very, 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 very vocal minority of people. Now, here's most PC gamers have all three. They have the Epic Store. They've got GOG. They've got Xbox Game Pass if they want to pay for it, and they've got Steam. And what they do is, so first thing we do as PC gamers is we have a platform of choice, minus GOG for obvious reasons. If you can't get it on GOG and you absolutely want to play it, you then move over to Steam, and then Epic gives away a lot of free fucking video games just for having their system. Every month they give it away, trying to disrupt Steam with that. And so you don't know how many free games that we get from Epic. Good games, free good games. Just as a matter of them trying to disrupt Steam. It's not going to happen. It's the funniest thing in the world. We will take advantage for it until they finally stick the fork in it. And then also the other thing that is worth it for is PC gamers sail the 7 seas. It's fucking One Piece up in this shit. So the people who complain are the people who don't know how to pirate, and two, don't understand that each store has its own strengths, and we play them all. We play them all against each other. It's what PC gamers are known for. It's what we do. That's how we do it.
Yeah, it's amazing how many free game, like the market strategy there with giving away so many, like you said, good games. Like, it's not just trash they're giving away. Like, they're giving away good games. There's not even like a require, like, Sony would give the free PlayStation Plus games every month, but like you had to pay a subscription to access those. With it's just like, here's 3 free games that you just take them. They're yours. It's
well, like, and I think, because actually this is all where Rush. We're gonna get to your super chats very soon, folks. But I do see something from Rush that I do want to address, because that's actually true. And it's actually what Rush just mentioned is the last thing, literally the last thing holding them. It's holding them by a thread, which is why it is nothing but fucking comedy gold to watch these dumb motherfuckers at Microsoft and Sony literally fucking snip that last fucking lifeline, which is the physical games. And they are working hard. They are working overtime to snip that last lifeline that's going to stop them from being fucking devoured by PC gaming. When those two systems go all digital, and it's coming. To quote the ghoul from the new Fallout show, when those tin can soldiers go all digital, and they gonna go all digital, it's over. It's fucking over. It's absolutely going. PC gaming is going to eat their fucking lunch, especially as you see more like Steam Deck, and you see, like, you're starting to see the true disruptive PC elements start to come out. And again, I said it from the start: Steam Deck is far more of a fucking threat to Microsoft and Sony than it ever will be to Nintendo. That is an easy plug in and play way to play PC games for those people. For the ones that are Steam Deck verified, it's going to be crazy when they get that second round of tech. When they get the Steam Deck 2 or the sustaining innovation on that, and it's cheaper, and oh my god, Brandon.
What I would love to see is PC gaming, or future consoles. Even, I don't care. I'm not married to the digital disc format of current consoles. I would love to see what, I think it's Limited Run did with the Day of the Tentacle remastered edition on PC, which I purchased.
Good game.
Brilliant game. And it comes on a USB drive that is shaped like the purple tentacle.
That's cool
from that game.
Fuck, yeah. God, I missed cool that. I'm kicking myself in the ass. I'm gonna go on eBay and kind of.
And that's what I want to see. Like, that's what would make me a PC game collector, right? That sort of shit is what would do it for me, because I don't care if the game is on a CD or a DVD. Oh, I sound like 100 years old. So games on CDs. Well, I don't care if a game is on a Blu-ray disc.
Yeah, it's like me and my SD card for Baldur's Gate 3. Same thing.
I want a thoughtfully created piece of physical media. I don't need it to be an optical disc. It can be anything. Like, the little Switch carts are cool. They're tiny little things. They're neat. The USB.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Give me something cool. Give me something physical. That's all I want.
I don't think they'll ever do it. And the reason why I don't think they'll ever do it, sadly, as smart as it is because the same dumb motherfuckers running Microsoft and Sony, it's the same third-party cartel that's largely running Western PC gaming. That's the thing. Like, they want.
Sure. But what I want is, so I fully expect the market to be 99% digital in the next 10 years, right? 99%. But let you and me, let's be the 1%, and let's have a boutique marketplace that serves us, that says, you all, like the physicality of collecting media. Let's do some cool shit. Let's take these games and put them on a physical media of some kind, whether it's an optical disc or a creative USB stick or something. Charge me a premium for it. That's fine. I'll pay a premium for it. You know what I mean? Like, I like the physical media of it all. And for a game that I want to play but don't care about as much, maybe I'll buy it digitally.
Sure.
But for the games that I care about, give me that boutique marketplace. That is my I want to say it's my ideal scenario. It's not ideal. Ideal would be that we continue with a physical marketplace in general. But my ideal scenario, given how I see the market going, is the boutique setup.
100%. Looking at, and I think that's what we're going to get. Actually, I liken it to paperback books versus hardcover books. Only in reverse. I think usually you have the hardcover book that comes out for the collectors and the people that are big fans of that particular book, and then you get the mass market paperback after that. I think we're going to see a reverse of that situation. I think you're going to see digital game releases come out, and then a year or two down the line, we'll get our hardback book, basically. So I think it's just kind of a reverse of that chronology, that timeline. But I think that's what's going to end up happening. So that 100% of that. But let's take it's 30. So we're 30 in. So let me look at the super chats real quick. Let's say hi.
Check the Zoots.
So we got Brooke Barnes. Draws first blood. What's going on, Brooke? How's it going? How you doing? Hope you're having a good Thursday night, and hope you're heading toward a good weekend. Rowan shows up, 998. How's it going, Rowan? Thanks for coming in, stopping by, man. Says playing some Trails of Cold Steel 4 as we speak. That's Erebonia, right?
Oh yeah, we're both on that one. Yep, that's the fourth in the Erebonian saga.
Interesting. Because you got a lot of intrigue coming out of Erebonia in the Trails from Zero games. That's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to finding
the Crossbell story and the Erebonia story are very interconnected. The first two games of Erebonia kind of run parallel in time to the first two games of the 2 games of the Crossbell duology.
Interesting. So I'll be probably popping in 3 and 4 when things start to get heated. Then it'll be after. So that's interesting. So I'm actually playing this rather interestingly. I'm gonna see Zero and Azure. So that's Cold Steel 1 and 2 from the perspective of Crossbell. Then I'm going to cross over and I'm going to see the aftermath of those events from the perspective of Erebonia.
Yep.
That is an intriguing proposition. I like that, actually. That makes me feel a little bit less about missing out on something. That's cool.
We may have some announcements. So we've got NIS America's got some big panels at Anime Expo next month. So maybe we'll get some more games on the Switch. Who knows? Maybe,
that would be cool. My understanding is there's some rights issues though. That's what's holding it back.
Marvelous has the rights to Cold Steel 1 and 2 and the Sky games.
And Marvelous are cunts. To be honest, like I'll never forget them. Literally, like, did you see what happened with Marvelous and OJ with Player Essence, like with the Damon X Mach? Okay, so OJ was showing. I think this was OJ. OJ, if you're in the chat, correct me if this wasn't you, but I'm pretty sure it was you. That you were showing off gameplay trailer, and you were just talking about hype for the game and how you're excited for this mech game. And Marvelous claimed that fucking video. They claimed it entirely. And so I think it was Player Essence that said, "Hey, here's what happened. They claimed my video. Like, fellas, this needs to stop because all we're doing is drumming up hype, like genuine excitement.
Free marketing.
I'm genuinely excited for your game, homie. And you doing this, so here's the plan moving forward. I'm just not going to talk about Marvelous games. Not going to do it. So, and when you got a channel of that size, it's like, I'm just not going to talk about your games anymore. Have fun. Like,
yeah, that hurts. Wow. That was a dumb move. Dumb move on their part.
And they still do it. They still claim everything. They still claim fucking everything. There was a buddy of mine that I guess they just released Twitter for the new day. A buddy who said they're taking down shit because they just showed art for the new Damon X Machina game, and they're knocking videos that show that off too now. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, I guess
brain worms, man. They got brain worms.
Yep. You just don't want us to talk. Yeah, those are going around. From what I hear. So Upper Nimbus says, "Hey, awesome peeps." Well, right back at you, Upper Nimbus. Glad to have you in here, man. Then Inferno Fox also greeting everybody. "Hey guys, hope y'all are well." Then they got the chat playing nice. Upper Nimbus says, "Hey Fox, I'm well, thanks. Hope you're good too." And then he says, "Good to hear that, Nimbus." Mad Kaiser in the house. The Kaiser in here. Yo, what's up, guys? Hey, what's going on, Kaiser? And everybody greeting Kaiser, making him feel right at home. Ferno Fox Gaming says, man, I feel like a Gen Alpha right now. Watching this, waiting for buddies to finish their Fortnite match so I can join and talking with my partner, LOL. Then says, hi, Kaiser, how the heck are you? Hey, how's it going, man? Then we got Mad Kaiser saying, good mate, just finished my Final Fantasy IX collaboration with Crimson. Looking forward to that, guys. Definitely keep us posted on when that drops, because that's going to be fun. I hear nothing but fantastic, phenomenal things on FF9. People say as a Final Fantasy VI old school stan, like, I'm going to love that game. So, very excited. And just beat Wolong Fallen Dynasty a day ago. And today a new Dynasty Warriors game got announced. Coincidence? Well, that'll make Jay happy.
I was wondering how Jay felt about that.
Yes, and speak of the devil, and he will appear. Jay shows up. Cold Nights Gaming. What's up, Jay? Hey, guys, just stopping in and say hi. Working tonight. Looking forward to watching in the morning. Well, always thanks for coming in, man. I love that you're always coming in, supporting things. And Jay literally wouldn't be doing any of this without you. This is kind of a live, taking direct inspiration from his Cold Takes podcast. And Jay's actually the one who actually showed me how to actually edit fucking videos. So, yeah, Jay's a big part of any, if you want to call it success, whatever I have on here. Jay's a big part of that, man.
Jay's one of the guys that just like you, Zoo. If he says, or if you say, "Hey, I want you to come do this thing," I'm there immediately. You don't even
we
have
appreciate
to ask
that, man.
him.
Yeah, and say I would reciprocate anytime, man. You ever have a collab or you need something from me, you say the word, man. 100%. Inferno Fox says, nice. Mad Kaiser, yo, dude, everybody greeting Jay. Thanks for popping in, Jay. My food. Dude, not food. LOL. Well, it is getting to be close to dinner time for some folks, depending on where you're at. So, food on the brain is not that bad. And then, yeah, Jay laughs his ass off there. Then hope things go well for you, Jay. Good luck. And yeah, hopefully finish out that work week. That way we can get back to playing some good games, spending time with your family. And hell yeah, that's what it's about, man. Then catch y'all later. See you later, Jay. Have a good work night. Hopefully you find some pretty good eats. So sometimes, like where he works, he finds some good eats that he shares with us. I'm thinking back to on the Cold Nights Discord, he showed off some red velvet Cinnabon cinnamon rolls. It looked
oh yeah, I saw the pictures. Yeah, that's some good stuff.
Oh, Upper Nimbus says, see you later, Jay. Rush Dog is in the house. Good evening, gentlemen. What's going on, Rush? He says, hey, Rush. And then long live Chex Quest, says Eagle Knight 815. Truer words were never spoken. Chex Quest, it will never leave. It will never leave. Everybody greeting Rush Dog. Then Rush Dog says, yeah, PCs also lack true physical games for those who like to show off a large physical collection. GOG games on an SD card don't count, Zoo. No, if you're talking about like showing off, check out hey guys,
sure.
Hey, check this out. Hey guys, I got this awesome SD card. Like, it's even labeled. Yeah, nobody cares. And then Rush Dog says more and more services are offering free digital games with their subscriptions. For example, Sonic Mania Plus is on Netflix, and again, I'm all for that.
Yeah, that's true.
The more people who have access to Sonic Mania Plus, the better. I want there to be digital games. I want there to be streaming games. I want there to be physical games too. I want gaming to be widely accessible in as many formats as possible. And Rush Dog says, would it make sense for consoles to have cartridge slots and disk drives if physical sales are only 1% of the market? Is there really a business case for the hardware to support a boutique market? Not wide-ranging hardware, no. But boutique hardware, yes. So it really depends.
I have a feeling that. So you look at a company like Analog putting out, the Super NT or the Pocket. They're emulating, but that's not quite the right word, right? They're emulating the hardware instead of software. And the reason they can get away with that is because of the technology they're using. It's sort of I don't even want to call it a gray area. It's basically they're able to reproduce the hardware on that chip, essentially. And that's how they can get away with selling this stuff. So in the future, if we have consoles that are essentially just PC boxes that run a dedicated OS and sit under our TVs, there isn't really a reason why a boutique company such as Analog couldn't produce a box that plays the same games and uses that sort of FPGA quote unquote emulation to make a box. On the flip side, if there is that 1% of the market that you mentioned, that 1% of the market is the one with the deep pockets that is like invested in gaming.
Take care of your whales.
Throwing a USB, they're the whales, right? We're the whales. So you throw a USB-C port on the front of your console, it costs pennies to put that port on your console, and you access this very small portion of the market that has very deep pockets. I think it's worth it for them from a cost analysis perspective to throw that 7 cents in their per console to throw that USB drive on there or USB slot. I think that's my thought on it anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, Rush. Yeah, I'm 1%, but I'm that 1% of motherfuckers that probably spent 15 to 20 grand on fucking Switch games this console generation. So you got to fucking placate me in some way, because guess what? If you don't have the physical games there, none of those games got bought. None of those games got bought. I could take or leave most of those. Vast majority of those games I could take or leave without, like, no way. Yeah, got to give me something. Otherwise, that's 10 grand that doesn't exist. And that's not even the biggest whale of the whales. There's some whales that literally, like, look at somebody like Packboy Slim, who's a Switch core guy, or look at Ali, who like literally buys almost every fucking thing that shows up physically on the Switch. I think Packboy Slim has almost every Switch release across multiple markets. So, yeah, and I can tell you from experience, Packboy's only doing that because they're physical. If there's no physical market, you don't have Packboy Slim. Packboy Slim goes and finds another hobby. He's a collector even more than, I mean, he plays a lot of video games, but the collecting aspect is what he is into. There's a lot of people like that. So, Mike Clark. Oh, drawing a little bit. Okay. Biggest question of the day, PlayStation Direct or Trump? So, all right, ready to torch our YouTube careers, Brandon? You want to take that question first, or you want me to?
I honestly, I'm not sure how to answer it. Which do I prefer?
Just answer it however you think you meant it. That'll be the fun of it.
I mean, which was the biggest surprise? Which was the biggest disappointment? Which was the there's a whole bunch of different angles you can take that from. I couldn't tell you. PlayStation Direct was pretty disappointing.
Yeah, clarify that.
I don't think.
Yeah, tell you what, Mike Clark. I don't
think the Trump situation was particularly surprising, and neither was the PlayStation Direct. They've been pretty consistently disappointing. So, I guess I'm not surprised by either.
And if you want to clarify that for Brandon a little bit, like I don't really care how you meant about it. It gives me an opportunity to talk about both of them, so I'm gonna do it. So, which of the day, biggest question of the day, PlayStation Direct or Trump? So I'm going to take that as being like the big question, like is in surprise of the day. The biggest surprise of the day. I was actually, I don't know enough about this particular set of crimes that Trump is accused of to tell you whether he did it or not, whether that's a surprising verdict or not. I don't know enough about that situation. Now, I've heard a lot of back and forth. I kind of look at all sides of the political aisle as a good little anarchist. I don't really have an interest, and I don't care what happens to that guy. So first and foremost, from that perspective, I don't care what happens to Donald Trump, because I don't really care what happens in this fucking piece of shit train wreck of a fucking election that's going to be going on. So don't care what happens either way. What I will say is that there are some conservatives out there that have some concerns that this trial may not have been treated fairly. Now, again, I don't know enough to know if that's true or not. I would have to really dig deep on it. The one that I will tell you, I didn't necessarily think this weird hush money shit was going to be the thing to get him. I would have more thought it would have been like the classified documents case. Or the Georgia phone call, because they literally got the guy on phone doing some pretty sussy-wussy shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, the funny thing about it with these sorts of like mob figures is that like Al Capone got brought down on tax charges, right? Like the least thing that he was that he was doing. So
now,
it's just, I don't know. It seems like that's just kind of how it goes sometimes.
Now, like you got your conservatives that are really crying the blues. Keep in mind, there's still appeals courts, guys. I don't know anything about this, but I can tell you guys that maybe you're crying the blues. You're like a old lady with a Virginia ham under her arm, crying the blues because she has no bread. She got the Virginia ham. There's still an appeals case. It's very possible he could win on appeal. It's always possible. You also have liberals that are celebrating this, and I would caution them the same thing. One, there's an appeals. Number two, the big thing y'all want, which is him to not be able to run, this is a state charge. So you really need to get him on the one I'm talking about, which is a classified documents charge, in order for him to not be able to run for president. Now, my ultimate advice on the Donald Trump thing is for liberals and conservatives: you guys do what you have always done and keep fucking the country up. That's what I'm a mushroom, man. Rot. Fucking rot. I love it down here. So you keep rotting the foundation of this country, both of you. And as things degrade and I finally get the Fallout universe that I really don't want, but I think we're inevitably heading toward, just know that I'm a mushroom and I absolutely feed on rot, okay? So keep doing what you guys do best. You keep voting, keep being suckers, and keep fucking this whole system up.
I'm not completely, tuned in. I don't have much of a public political persona.
There's no
really,
point.
But the thing that, from a kind of an outsider's perspective, that boggles my mind is like the loyalty to Donald Trump. They're so loyal to him. It's like he's 100 years old, and like there's a million guys that have the exact same like views as him. Why is he the God Emperor? Like, pick a different guy. I don't know. Pick a guy that doesn't have the baggage. It seems simple to me, but I guess there must be something to it I don't understand. But same with Biden. Like, he's 100 years old. Like, pick a different guy. I don't know. Pick a different dude. There's so many dudes.
So here's one. So to give a side to that, because I think it is a sign of deep dysfunction and decline that we have a country of 350 million people, and the two best fuckers you can find are octogenarians. I think that speaks a lot to the political dysfunction that has completely crippled this society. I can also explain the cult of personality behind Trump. I'd like to take a shot at that. Because it's good old-fashioned mass psychology, which is one of my specialties, actually. I'm a trained hypnotist, right? And so if you look at what's going on it makes a lot of sense if you realize. Do you know who Donald Trump's pastor as a child was?
I don't know if I do.
Norman Vincent Peale wrote The Power of Positive Thinking.
The name's
one of the greatest persuasive minds of all time. Worked for a time with another person who I know Edward Bernays, who was the father of modern propaganda. So essentially, power of positive thinking, and then of course he writes The Art of the Deal. So Donald Trump, literally, his childhood pastor was a large influence on him. If you ever look at old interviews prior to the political age, and like certain people, whether it's Steve Jobs or whether it's Donald Trump, they have what I call a reality distortion field around them, right? So essentially, it's you see a lot of it, and like you see it, and I'm not trying to suggest everything he does is deliberate, but you certainly see A/B testing going on. You certainly see his ability to brand not only his political opponents, but to brand buildings or to brand. It's all part of what allows him to cross that appeal and to use those persuasive talents toward other avenues, such as politics. So I understand it because I've read the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, and I see all 6 of those weapons of influence on full display every time the fucking guy talks. And people ridicule him. People say he talks at a 4th grade level. Yeah, that's the fucking idea, guys. There's a reason why he does that. Have you talked to Americans? It works. It fucking works, guys. So again,
well, you see that reality distortion field in wide use in just about every, like, we're seeing it. We saw it today with the PlayStation Direct. We see it every time Phil what's his face shows up on, to talk about Xbox. Like, it's frustrating
they just lie. And
they lie, and it's one thing if somebody comes along and you don't know them and you haven't had any experience with them, and they lie to you and you decide to take them on good faith and you get suckered and you realize they were lying. Shame on them, right? Because fool me once, shame on you.
Right.
But these guys, Sony and Microsoft, they keep doing this. They keep doing it over and over.
They do.
Why is it still news? Why is it still surprising to us? It shouldn't be surprising.
Because we're addicted. Because again, I don't think I'm the only mushroom person out here in the audience. I think we're addicted to the rot. I think it makes for compelling TV and compelling news, and it fills.
We like drama.
It fills our day.
We like drama. People are so addicted to drama, and I've said this before. Not just coming from the big, video game manufacturers or whatever, but like just in general, like we jump to the worst conclusions and we get angry as a collective group. And I've talked about groupthink before, but like we all just get so jazzed up by stuff, when taking 2 seconds and just calming down and taking a look at what's going on around us, what's going on in context, solves the problem, right? But the thing is, I think for most people, I don't know about most people, but a lot of people, is it's not a problem to get jazzed up and get angry on the internet. It's like what they're there for. It's what they're there to do.
Well,
right?
exactly, and that's the thing. That's why they can't. And again, if you let the average person slow their brain down long enough to think, then it's not a problem. I think one of my favorite quotes of all time is from the movie Men in Black, when he says, the person is smart, but people are blind, dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. And what he meant by that is, and that's part of the design of the internet. It's part of the design of advertisements. It's if you let someone's brain slow down. So you think about your average American, right? And I'm not trying to talk shit. I genuinely have empathy for your average American and your average worker in general in the United States and abroad. And these are gamers, these are non-gamers. So your average person spends anywhere from 8 to 12 hours a day at work. They might have a family when they come home. They might have a second job. They might have a third job in this current economy. And then on top of that, you've got the entire time they're working, or the entire time they've got their television or video game on. What are they being bombarded with? Advertisement, advertisement, advertisement. And the entire time this is happening, what's happening is, over time, and they've measured this, the attention span of the average citizen has shrunk. It's actually now less than your typical goldfish test. It's 6.9 seconds of attention span. And the reason that happened isn't because these people are stupid. It is a defense mechanism that has been developed over time to blot out the absolute assault on our consciousness from advertisements. So if you pair that constant barrage of advertisement with the fact that the average American doesn't have time to catch their fucking breath, slow down, and think, that explains a lot of this. And then you pair that with the fact that the people we're talking about. So let's talk about Phil Spencer. Let's talk about lying, crying Jim Ryan. Shameless, utterly shameless. Bobby Kotick. Shameless individuals, Brandon. And so when you pair that shamelessness with an exhausted, mentally assaulted population that likes drama, you got your show, man. That's it. That's it in a fucking nutshell, man. That's what's happening.
It's too bad too, because like I used to, I don't, full disclosure, like I used to get into the drama as much as anybody, or more so. Like I was
still
big
dip my
into
toes.
that. Sure. And I won't say that I'm immune to it, but like since I don't know, a few years ago, I just was like, I really sat down and thought, like, I don't like feeling this way. Like I like the initial like surge of whatever brain chemical I get when it happens, but the feeling that I have afterwards for hours or sometimes days,
you feel dirty, don't you?
Of having engaged in that, it's dirty. It feels just like, I don't know, like a knotted up stomach kind of feeling. And it's like, I don't like that. I don't like that. And I don't want to do that. So that's why I don't know. And like, and I, people sometimes I think that I'm naive or whatever in my perspectives and how I respond to people that come with, pretty obvious ill intentions. But it's, if anything, it's a defense mechanism for myself to be positive, because it makes me feel better. Like if somebody leaves a shitty comment on a YouTube video I make and I respond with like a self-effacing joke or some other kind of positivity, or engage with them in good faith, even if they're pretty clearly acting in bad faith, like that's not for them. Like that's for me. I'm engaging that way for myself because it makes me feel better. Like you don't get that surge of adrenaline or whatever brain chemical comes when you get into an internet fight with somebody, but I feel better in the long run from engaging positively. So that's just why I do that. And for the past several years, that's how I've wanted to be on the internet. And it doesn't feel like that's as common. That doesn't feel like that's a super common thing. I don't know I don't know.
No, I think you do a good job. And what I mean by that is one of the things you do first and foremost that tells me you're not seeking the drama is you blot the name out. That's all I ask of people. And I'm very critical, in fact, when people don't blot the name out, because number one, most of the time, the name that's not blotted out, you're kind of punching down on that guy. Because that guy, I mean, not that I'm big shit on Turd Mountain or anything, but I have like almost 200 subscribers, maybe a little bit more. That guy probably has 0. So even if it's only 4 or 5 people that I may be potentially exposing that guy to their abuse from, I got to be responsible with that and not expose that guy to abuse. He has a right to be a shithead. I have a right to clap back in the way I infamously do, rip their fucking throats out. But I'm not gonna show their name when I do it. And the reason for it is one, I don't want the drama. 2, I genuinely feel like it's punching down. And again, I used to engage in some of the blood sport shit. I don't anymore because of that exact filthy feeling you talk about. It takes a special kind of shameless person to be Keemstar, Brandon. And I don't think either of us have it.
Well, and the thing about like punching down is right, and like
I don't like to punch down.
If I'm blessed with something of a platform, like I've only been at this for a couple of years, so I know I have friends in the creator space that do show the name, and they deal with a lot more. Well, let me tell you why I'm sympathetic to their position.
Sure.
Like they have been dealing with greater amounts of negativity for a longer period of time than I have. So I don't feel like I can comment on it until I've lived it myself. You know what I mean? Like, so if something is therapeutic for them to do that, like I don't do that myself, but I don't feel like I don't judge them for it because I haven't been there yet. Like when I've been doing, maybe I'll be able to say more when I've been doing this for 10 years or whatever. If I'm doing it in 10 years, I'll be 50. God.
Oh, it's scary, ain't it? Oh, it's scary.
It's terrifying. It's just absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I'm not.
But yeah, I mean, it's a challenging world, and like I'm fortunate in that my core audience is usually who tunes in when I put out a video, so I'm not having to deal with the level of negativity. Right? Yeah, like we're not having to deal with the level of negativity that some of these folks that put out videos that go viral and are getting all these outside people in.
That's true. Yeah, nobody knows who the fuck I am. Nobody knows. So and that has it has advantages. My advantage being I rarely get a troll. I think I've had one troll in terms of that shows up on YouTube. I think I've had one troll the entire time I've been doing this, and he told me that my audio sounded like potato. And I just quickly did this. I did kind of what you did in a way. I said, yeah, well, I said, and I put potato audio lover for a little while on my bio. Because it's not fucking changing. Like, buddy, I don't do this for a living. Like, I'm not investing in high-end audio equipment. I'm not a fucking voice actor. So sorry, buddy. If you're looking for that silky smooth voice, one, you need to go elsewhere because that ain't me. I sound like a dumb fuck. But second of all, like, I'm gonna sound like a dumb fuck coming through a tinny little fucking headset because I'm not buying professional audio equipment for a fucking YouTube channel. It's not happening.
Well, regardless of your audio quality, you've got a very distinctive voice full of character. So that's what sells it, in my opinion.
I appreciate that. So you don't think I sound like a dumb shit?
No, not at all.
Oh, it might just be, maybe it's just when I get too drunk, I feel like I'm a dumb shit. But let's see here.
I mean, I feel like I'm a dumb shit all the time, regardless.
Here's the thing: if you don't think sometimes you're screwing up and that you're dumb as paint, you probably need to look at your at that shamelessness thing we talked about, because everybody's wrong on occasion, and if you really think that you're always right, got news for you, homie. You're not. So
I tell you, I feel like I'm wrong so often.
Me too.
I don't even feel any shame about it anymore. Like, if you ask me for a prediction of what's going to happen in the gaming space over the next year, I'll give you a prediction, and it's going to be wrong. And plenty of other people that are much smarter than me are going to point out right now, like, why that wouldn't make sense, and they're going to be right, and I'm going to be wrong, and that's just it. Like, I'm used to it by now. Like,
see, for my line of things, I got a pretty good track record with that particular thing. I'm pretty dumb on a lot of other shit, but I've been watching the games industry for a long time, and I think you're going to be right on this one prediction we just made because you're mirroring me, man. So again, like, I'll be arrogant as fuck until I'm wrong, and then once I'm wrong, I'll be like, okay. And again, the way I view right and wrong is I view it in terms of properly discerning reality. So everybody thinks that they have this great grasp on reality and that they're right 90% of the times. Bullshit. Wrong. That's not how it works at all. Human brains did not adequately evolve to accurately discern reality. We evolved to do the things that make more of us. So that's getting food and finding mates and finding shelter. That's what we do good. Our brains did not evolve to properly discern reality, which is why human brains are so fucking bad at it. You're actually just rationalizing the choices you've already irrationally made 90% of the time. Got news for you. And any hypnotist will tell you that's true. Any cognitive scientist will tell you that's true. We're not good at this. But what we can do is, so in a world where everybody sees a different reality, how do we discern who is correct when we're so bad at it? And the answer to that is to see whose brain approximates reality. And in order to do that best, you look at who can predict. And some people are going to be better at predicting certain things in certain fields. And so they may have a really, really tuned in lens on reality for that particular field or hobby. Other people might not have a clue about that. We've all read different books. We've all had different life's experiences. None of us are going to be great at everything. But if you're incorrect, what it is it's a chance to recalibrate your reality predictive ability. So if I'm, let's say,
learn.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So let's say I'm wrong when I say GameCube sucks, right? And over time, experience has shown me, as well as social proof, just screaming at me every fucking time I bring it up. It's like, okay, you know what? I'll give this a shot. Maybe GameCube doesn't suck so bad. And then I play a GameCube game, and I play another GameCube game. And I play another GameCube game. Pretty soon, it's like, holy shit, my lens on reality may not be correct on this, and so I need to re-examine that. Maybe GameCube doesn't suck. Maybe GameCube just didn't do what the market at the time needed it to do. And just like that, you recalibrate, and moving forward, maybe you don't say stupid shit like the GameCube sucks moving forward, right, guys? So that's what I encourage everybody to do. You're never going to be right 100% of the time. But when you're wrong, use it as an opportunity to look at your paradigm on trying to predict reality. So Rush Dog says, Branden, what are your thoughts on physical collector's editions that don't include an actual game? Example, Spider-Man 2, Sonic Mania, Fire Emblem 30th Anniversary Edition, etc.
That's very interesting. I'm not 100% opposed to it, and in certain circumstances, if I own the game already, but I love the game enough that I want the knickknacks that come with a collector's edition. That's great for me because then I'm not needing to buy the game again. I can just buy the box of knickknacks or whatever.
Right.
I think what a lot of these are, though, is like a digital copy of the game with the physical knickknacks. And I feel like that is just swing and a miss, just like completely missing the point of what collectors value in physical collecting. So like, you know, when I buy a collector's edition of a game, like, and I there's only a handful of series that I buy the collector's editions for anymore because I need to reality check. Like I need to
I'm
tone
very,
this down a little
and
bit.
I'm very smart. And I just typically, unless the collector's edition is the only way to get the cart, I'll usually just buy the regular edition. I just need the game to fucking
just buy the cart, sure.
I just need
sure. Like for me, like you can't see it from this angle, but like my Trails collectors, like I get Trails games at collector's editions, the Tales of series, the Xeno series. Those are the games that I buy the collector's editions for.
And to be fair, those will be the ones that appreciate in value much more than my Spartan cards. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But even beyond the value, just like I like those series so much that like that's a way that I express my appreciation for the series, right? Is I buy those collector's editions. But God, the cognac's hitting me. What were we talking about?
We're everywhere. We're fucking everywhere tonight, man, and that's how we like it here on Liquored Up Live. So, we were talking about physical games that don't have the physical game, like the collector's editions that lack the physical.
Okay.
And that answers Resh Dog's questions. I see a question down here. What's everyone drinking? He's drinking cognac. I am drinking cognac with a splash of plum liqueur and a splash of elderflower liqueur. And it is good. I need to come up with a name for this beauty.
I need to try that.
Oh gosh, it's good. Oh, let me give me 1 second. So the elderflower liqueur is called Saint Germain's. And let me go grab the plum wine real quick, and I'll be right back.
All right. So how's everybody doing?
Okay, so this is Japanese. It's not a wine. It's a liqueur. Sorry. Plum liqueur. It's called Ume, U-M-E. And it is a beautiful shade of purple, and it has one of the most delicious smells to it. Oh, gosh, it smells good. Very
doing
good.
Rush. I just saw Rush chat.
Yeah, Ume.
I'm a little tipsy. Ume, I'm trying to think. What does ume mean? Does it just mean plum?
Maybe. Yeah, ume is what it's called. And
I'm trying to think.
It's 17% alcohol. Not too strong. Which is good because I'm pairing it with a cognac, which is very strong. And then Saint Germain's.
What do I got?
So I've got a little bit of fruitiness, a little bit of floral element, and then that nice cognac, delicious smooth flavor. And I got to come up with a name for this cocktail. But Umai, it's not too pricey. I think I spent like $20 on the Umai plum liquor. It's a delightfully tart, is on the tongue and buoys the soul with plum and green apples notes and a smooth finish. Enjoy over ice mixed with soda or as a gem tone twist on classic cocktails. Pretty good.
Yeah. Rowan confirms that ume, and I just looked it up myself as well, that ume just means plum. So that's what you're looking at.
Sweet.
Plum.
Now, Mike Clark says, as long as Nintendo still releases games on physical media, then I will buy it. I agree, Mike, with an addendum. As long as Nintendo makes good games that I like. So Nintendo could go off the fucking deep end like they did for a couple generations, and I might skip it again. But as long as Nintendo is making Mario Wonder, which for all the critiques I've thrown at the game, it's a solid game. Tears of the Kingdom, same. For all the critiques I made, it's still a solid game. Making Metroid Dread, like literally, it's hard for me to complain about the Nintendo Switch because I got Metroid Dread, which finally replaced the Metroid appetite. I've been playing Super Metroid for 20 fucking years. Finally got Dread, which finally replaced that appetite. I got Zelda Breath of the Wild, which replaced the classical Zelda appetite. I adore it. And Mario Wonder just barely missed the mark. I'm still going to be playing Mario Brothers 3 / World. Like, can't stop me. Wonder did not stop me. But 2 out of 3 full replacements of an appetite is not too bad. I'll give the Switch that.
Tell me if you agree with this or if I'm missing something here, but I'm thinking about it. And I feel like Nintendo has almost always made excellent genre-defining games for every console that they've put out, except the Wii U. Like, I don't want to be too harsh on the Wii U because I actually have a certain fondness for the Wii U myself.
Tropical Freeze.
But Nintendo, but what?
Tropical Freeze.
But I'm thinking like internal Nintendo studios, right?
Okay, yeah.
Retro. So like internal Nintendo, like we have Xenoblade X, which I think Xenoblade Chronicles X is the best open world I've ever played in a video game. It's crazy to me how that game is so remarkable and it's stranded on the Wii U. It's insane.
Oh, don't make me sad, please. Oh.
It's so amazing. Like I first played Xenoblade X after the PlayStation 5 had come out, and I'd played games on the PlayStation 5. And I was playing Xenoblade X, and I was like, this looks better than anything I have seen on the PlayStation 5. This is just incredible world design, art is like just an incredible game. But by and large, the internal Nintendo studios for the Wii U didn't turn out a ton of amazing stuff. They had Mario U, which was fine.
Rush Dog's got an answer to you.
You know, it was a new Super Mario Brothers game, which I'm not crazy about, but like it was fine.
Yeah, it was definitely wasn't.
Rush Dog says
Splatoon.
Rush Dog says Splatoon.
Fair.
Splatoon, okay, fair. Yeah. So that's kind of the light in the darkness.
Yeah, Splatoon was a disruption on the shooter game, on the multiplayer shooter.
Was a good genre defining game from Nintendo proper on the Wii U.
Yes, that's a fair answer. Very fair answer.
But what else did they do? Like if you look at their other flops, right? Their other flop consoles, N64.
Yes.
You've got Super Mario 64, genre defining 3D platformer.
To be fair, yes.
Zelda Ocarina of Time, genre defining action adventure game. You've got Mario Kart. Yeah, exactly. You got Mario Kart 64. The list goes on. GameCube,
Star Fox with 64, and
you've got Wind Waker, which there's problems with Wind Waker, but Wind Waker was a remarkable entry for the time. You've got Mario Sunshine, which I don't care for, but it was the next 3D Mario platformer.
That's why I didn't sell.
Rush Dog points out. Rush Dog points out that Wii U is the platform that, and I was forgetting this because of drunk. But also, Wii U was the platform that launched Mario Kart 8.
Also, if we want to be fair, Breath of the Wild. If we want to be fair,
technically yes. Technically yes. Breath of the Wild did come out.
Technically
was developed for the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Upper Nimbus for Mario Sunshine.
Look at you. I've got to try it again.
Let me tell you, I love 3D Mario. That's my jam. And I had not played Mario Sunshine until the 3D collectors, whatever it's called.
The All Stars, 3D All Stars.
3D All Stars.
That's where I'm going to play it. That's where I'm going to play all
Sunshine
of them.
Until then. I finished it. I didn't 100% it, but I finished it. I beat the game, the main game.
The only 3D Mario I've played is Galaxy and Sunshine, or no, Galaxy and 64. Or no, God, the drunk's hitting me too. No, it's not just you. It was Mario 64 and Mario Odyssey. I'm naming the ones I didn't play. There we go. So
with Sunshine, I was so angry almost the whole time that I was playing that game. I don't know why I didn't stop. Like, if I was that angry, why wouldn't I just stop?
Because it's not what anybody fucking wanted.
And I was like, no. I was angry enough at the game that I was like, I'm going to conquer you. I'm going to conquer you so that you don't have this to hold over my head forever, that I couldn't beat you. I beat it, but I was so angry the whole time. Like, it's like the brilliance of, and I don't, maybe you want to agree with this, but to me, the brilliance of Mario 64 is the design and the control that the player has over Mario is so precise and so specific that you can have a game like Mario Sunshine, which borrows 98% of that movement, of that design, but just changes that 2%, just a little bit.
Sure,
and that 2% difference is enough to just destroy me and just ruin the experience for me. So no disrespect to folks that like Mario Sunshine. I know that it's got its fans, and I think that they're right to enjoy it. It just did not work for me on any level. Like, it was beautiful. Like, the tropical setting was cool. But otherwise, as a game, it just did not work for me. And I don't know. I feel weird saying that because I love Mario, but
that's going to be that lack of precision is going to be a problem for me, because I don't find 3D Mario to be all that precise. Now, part of that is because I come from the 2D world, where the controls are about as fucking pinpoint as you can get. They are perfect.
Yeah.
And again, that's not entirely Nintendo's fault. That was my whole critique of 3D Mario, is when you introduce that third plane, that Z-axis, that is going to introduce that little bit of give that's going to take that picture perfect platforming precision off of there right off the bat, because you've got to now account for that third axis, and now things get floaty. If Mario 64, I don't agree that it was precise. It was so imprecise, in fact, that they had to introduce the wahoo. They had to introduce the punch kick, because you couldn't jump on a fucking Goomba if your life depended on it. To me, that's not precise. Like, I can't. If I miss the Goomba when I jump,
yes. So yes, yeah. So you're correct in that it's not precise in the way that 2D Mario is, right? Like, you can't pick up a controller and know exactly what to do with Mario 64 like you could with the original Mario Brothers trilogy.
I can hit the Goomba on the 2D. Nintendo. I can always hit the Goomba on
Sure, you can always hit the Goomba. Like, the most beginner of beginners can jump on a Goomba in Mario 2D. But with Mario 64, and I'm only speaking from my own very specific point of view, I put thousands of hours probably into that game over the years. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but maybe thousands. I don't know. A lot. I did nothing but play that game for years of my life. So for me, that movement was just ingrained into me. So when Mario Sunshine came along and had basically the same movement, except for just this tiny bit of difference, it completely, like, floored me. I just was face planting all over the place. Yeah. So that's and like,
it works better for the platforming of the obstacle course. I think the 3D platform worked better for the obstacle course than it did the enemy combat, which is why they introduced that. Because you have the broader wall, you can do more of the flips, and
Well, and that's the funny thing about Mario 64. Enemy combat, quote unquote, you basically don't have to do it. There's so few enemies in the 3D Mario games. Like, compare it to a 2D Mario level, the number of Koopa Troopas or Goombas or whatever you see, it's insignificant in the 3D Mario games. You barely see any enemies in that game. It's all about the platform, right? Like, they kind of shifted hard in the direction of, this is the obstacle we're going to put in front of the player. It's just purely the stage design itself,
Well, and to give,
which, I mean, for better or worse, like, I don't know if that's better or not, but it's different.
To give 3D Mario some flowers too, the world building, especially in those first two games, is phenomenal. And that includes Mario Sunshine. So let's look at Mario 64. Mario 64 introduced us to Peach's Castle. Really gave us an in-depth Peach Castle, a location that is still fucking used to this day in Mario games. Isle Delfino expands the Mushroom Kingdom yet again. Really cool, interesting place. I like Isle Delfino. Now, once you get to Galaxy, it starts becoming that fucking Bowser's Ninja Warrior obstacle course in space, where it's just completely disconnected from any actual world building. And that's why, honestly, of the three, Galaxy's probably the one that at least appeals to me, because of my own personal emphasis on world building. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is something they do with those little mini galaxies that makes it like an expansion on something. But I don't see any lore. I don't see any world building with Galaxy. I just see Bowser's Ninja Warrior.
So there is some lore with Galaxy
Okay.
Surrounding Rosalina, but I kind of agree, because of all the 3D Mario games, Galaxy is the one that I'm least interested in revisiting.
Okay.
It was very cool. I will say, like, when I played Mario Galaxy on the Wii way back in whenever it came out, I don't know. Like, I enjoyed the heck out of that game and had a great time with it. I don't feel like I need to play it again. Whereas most other 3D Mario games, I enjoy just dropping in and playing. Mario Odyssey is brilliant.
God, it's so
it
good.
recaptured that feeling for me.
Mario Odyssey is so good. It's so good. And I'm not even a 3D fan, and I thought Odyssey was phenomenal.
Yeah. I still am waiting for a Mario game that meets the criteria that I had thought Mario 64 was going to be. I thought, I remember as a teenager, or I don't know if I was 12, how old I was, when Mario 64 was coming soon. The way it was described, I got the sense that you would be traveling across this vast world. It would almost be like an open world experience. And you wouldn't be going through distinct levels necessarily. You'd be like traveling across this big land and having this big adventure. And that sounded really cool to me. What we got, of course, obviously, was the hub world with the castle and then the various paintings, which is fine. It's fine. But I would love a big Mario adventure where it's like you are traveling across a big world and you're not divided up into, discrete levels like Mario has always done. I think and I know that there's the Bowser's Fury on the Mario 3D World remake.
That's why OJ thinks we're getting that next. He thinks we're getting exactly what you're describing next for a Mario.
Like, that's interesting to me. I don't know whether they can pull it off. Maybe it'll be a disaster, but I'm interested in that as a concept.
It's the natural singularity.
That's what I thought Mario 64 was going to be.
Well, it's a natural singularity. Now, Mario 64, hindsight's 2020. I think that's what we all kind of thought. But, of course, we should have known the 64 just didn't have it. It just didn't have it. The ability to
Well, yeah. I mean, as a kid, I looked at the screenshots of Mario 64 and I thought, what can't they do? Like, the sky's the limit. Like, this is amazing.
My friend Vince and I have a theory. And he actually he thought that Mario 64 in and of itself was a product of limitations, but in the exact opposite way that you're describing. So if you look at your 2D Mario games, your average 2D Mario game has like 70, 80 courses to it. Like, they're big games, despite being 2D. They're big old games. Originally, it looked as if you go way back, what Vince is telling me, and I've not confirmed this myself, guys, but it looked like there was a whole lot more variety to the locales in the old Mario 64 footage. And so what Vince was thinking is that we were going to get that big honking game, 70, 80 courses over the course of it, but it would just be like smaller 3D levels. Now, naturally, the burden of rendering 70, 60 to 80 2D Mario style 3D courses in full 3D was not a budgetary constraint Nintendo could tolerate. And so as a result, it actually became 15 larger hub worlds. And so it would be a natural singularity if we could get to the point where now all of a sudden, hey, it's the one big world. Now, I think that would be kind of a point of singularity where the series is headed, honestly. It'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully OJ's right.
I would like to see them try it. Yeah. Yeah.
So Mike Clark is drinking Miller Genuine Draft. Nice. Rush Dog says
champagne and beers.
Rush Dog says Evercated is an example of boutique hardware, although the hardware is fairly underpowered. Yeah, that's true. And then he also brings up the point, are the patents up on the consoles that Analog makes clones of? That's a good question. I can't believe I actually don't know that, given that I was an investor with Nintendo for a while. I don't know.
I don't think that they I don't think that they are, and I think the reason that they work, the reason that the analog systems work, is because of the way the FPGA chips work. Like they're not actually using the same technology;
Okay.
they're just emulating it on a hardware level, and that's how they get around it. So that's
Okay.
why I think, based on the current state of litigation around FPGA, clone consoles, that they could have a modern, like an equivalent to whatever is currently out, a console that uses that FPGA technology
Okay.
and get away with it.
That makes sense to me because Nintendo would be fucking crazy to give up the patent on the SNES and the NES, and oh my gosh, there's so
Yeah.
much money to be made on that hardware, as they showed us when they literally
Mhm.
sold out like almost immediately of the NES and SNES minis. And I'm still saying that Nintendo shot themselves in the foot by not just making that a mass market product. Those things would sell and sell and sell, but it might sell to the extent that it actually starts to embarrass Nintendo's native current gen hardware. And so they can't have that for obvious reasons. But I think that's the only reason I can think of to stop those from selling, because those would still be selling out right fucking now if those were still on the market. There is an insatiable desire for those systems. Insatiable. Those are literally people's childhood in a box, guys. Like, and even the Sega Genesis to a lesser extent. But I'd get 100%. So Rush Dog says, nice. Mike, I'm drinking a sweet tea in St. Germain's. Like, oh, you're drinking the Miss Zoo. Yeah, Mrs. Zoo. Yeah. So how do you like that? Because I actually really like that. That's the frou drink she came up with. She takes Milo's 0-calorie sweet tea, Branden, and then she adds in that St. Germain's elderflower liqueur to it and makes like an herbal liquored tea, basically. And
Interesting.
It's pretty tasty. But yeah, tell me what you think of that, Rush. Like, how do we like that? Well, oh yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm a big fan of Saint Germain's. Yeah, and that Saint Germain's adds a little bit of a citrus note and a lot of a floral note into that earthy, sweet taste of the sweet tea. Very good drink. Very good drink. If the Saint Germain's had more alcoholic volume, it'd be dangerous as fuck. But it's just a splash. It's just a little splash of it. So you literally can't get drunk off them either. I think that's why she likes it, since she's like twice my, or she's half my size. So like, yeah, it's very easy for her to get tipsy. So Mike Clark says, laugh out loud, nice. Just got the Analog Duo now and have the 4-gen trio. Oh, good. Yeah, Analog makes extraordinarily good hardware and sometimes beautiful hardware. Branden, did you guys in chat, did you see the wooden inlaid variant of, I think it was the Neo Geo or the 3D? They made a system and it was literally inlaid with fucking wood. It had wood finish on it. Gorgeous.
I don't think I saw that. No.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. They go for stupid money now, and I'll post a picture for chat. Analog wooden system. Yeah, okay. It was Neo Geo. It was a Neo Geo. So feast your fucking eyes on this, buddy. Let me add that into our chat real quick. Voila. Let me blow that.
Oh, wow.
Feast your eyes on that, chat. Beautiful.
Wait, that's not by Analog, is it?
Yes, that's an analog. That was
really?
An extraordinarily limited analog run. Yeah. Yeah, handcrafted SNK. Let me look at the Game Informer article before I.
Oh, CMVS. Interesting. I didn't even know they made
Analog
that.
Interactive
Cool.
Black Label is a custom service that sounds like an alcohol, but really lets customers select any wood in the entire world to be shaped into a case for the Neo Geo.
Interesting.
So, like, you could take,
cool.
if you pay for it, you could take like zebra wood and have them make you a zebra wood Neo Geo. Like,
nice.
Which would literally match my fucking desk I'm sitting at. Like I could. Neo Geo's an expensive ass system though, but I would love to get like a zebra wood Super Nintendo, because I was a big Super Nintendo fan before the Switch fan, just to fucking have it, or like a custom
they got the
zebra wood Switch with zebra wood fucking Joy-Cons.
They got the analog 3D coming out at some point this year. I'm gonna have to get my hands on that. It's
Yeah,
the
analog.
N64. Man, they're so good. I know they're just kind of like ripping off Apple's marketing, but like it's so good. I love the stuff that they make. So good.
Oh, me too. Mike Clark says, I was just trying to rile feathers. Gaming is far more important than Trump or Biden. Don't be worried about riling feathers, man. Like, you ever have a question about anything, you can ask me. I'm fucking fearless, man. And yes, you're right. Gaming is far more important than Trump or Biden. Gaming is real. Gaming is actually real, not fake ass politicians.
We're here having a good time. That's what I'll tell you.
And then he says, oh, the political fanboys are just as bad as the console warriors. Anytime you lump yourselves into a category and you say, oh, I'm this, I'm that, just understand that that's been done for you. That is the factionalization is not as natural as most people think. And I encourage people to read a book called Debt, the First 5,000 Years by David Graeber. Okay. His name is David Graeber. And he talks a little bit about where this factionalization of humanity comes from, and whether you're saying whether you're identifying as a political party or as a particular gaming fanboy system or even a sports team, like me saying I'm a fucking Bears fan because sports ball is that fucking important, right? And my answer would be yes. I know I'm hallucinating, but the Chicago Bears is fucking important, but it's really not. And there are distinctive reasons that benefit a certain specific class of people, always have, always will, that factionalization helps. Also, the fact that Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo literally make bank by factionalizing us against each other. They actually make bank doing that.
That's one of the things that I'm most against.
Yes.
And I feel like it's the thing I get the most pushback from people. And it doesn't make sense to me how people get so up in arms about my position of like there shouldn't be console. Like every game should be available on anything you want to play it on. Like console exclusives should not be a thing. And people get mad at me about that. I'm like, but this is for your benefit, right? Like if I can play Mario games on anything that I own, how is that bad? How is that bad for me? How is that bad for you?
It's
like
not
the
it's
only
not bad.
person that benefits.
Yeah. It's not bad for gamers.
The only thing that benefits from Mario being locked in Nintendo is Nintendo. Literally the only entity that benefits from that is them.
So that's the reason it doesn't happen. But I can actually make an argument, although again, keep in mind I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here. I'm more in line with your position, Branden, in terms of that. But an argument could be made that Nintendo is the last integrated hardware and software company on planet Earth at this point. They're the last ones. And one of the reasons
I think they are. Yeah.
One of the reasons why Nintendo is so goddamn good with their games is because each game is tailored to that specific hardware that it's integrated with. An argument could be made that if you remove the integrated hardware software, then it's like a factory that makes Godiva chocolates. If suddenly Godiva chocolates are available in multiple wrappers and they're not integrated to that specific milk and that specific region to that specific factory, that the chocolate will will lose its specialness essentially. Now, again, I'm not saying I agree with that. There's a lot of critiques you can throw at that. But that's the Nintendo perspective.
There's the Nintendo like console thing where they make weird hardware that requires, specific sorts of input or has a specific design that makes it, incapable of being run on anything other than itself.
Yes.
Like if I don't know, like if I had a booty smacking machine that smacked my booty every time I pushed the start button.
Right.
Like, yeah, you wouldn't be able to put that on any other. You wouldn't be able to put that software on any other machine because it wouldn't smack my booty, right?
Right.
Like that wouldn't be fun.
Right.
But God, I am really drunk.
Me too, man.
But here's like, but games don't need to have weird, input mechanisms. They don't have to have multiple screens to be good. Like if you want to make a game that has strange or like motion controlled input like the Wii, for example, right? Like, you can do that. Just create a custom interface to be able to do that. Give me a controller that I need to purchase along with the game, and you can make that game, right? You can still put that on anything. Just give me a custom interface to interact with it.
So,
like, we don't need the hardware to be so specific that it can only, be produced by Nintendo. Like,
so some would argue that some would argue that some of the best variants of the classic arcade games are indeed on the arcade integrated hardware and software. I know you're a native of Chicago. Have you ever been to the Galloping Ghost, Brandon?
No, but I'm actually a buddy of mine and I are planning to go there on Sunday. This coming Sunday.
You need to go to the.
3 days from
this
now.
Sunday, you said?
3 days from now, I'm planning on going to the Galloping Ghost.
I may try to be there this Sunday then. I go to the Galloping Ghost. Okay. You will see me there about once a month, man. And the reason being is it is the world's largest arcade, and you don't even have to have fucking coins, homie. They literally rip the coin op out and they have a press button start, but it's the same hardware otherwise. And you pay once in the morning. There's a great restaurant there too that you have to try as a drinker connoisseur such as myself. It's called Burger Antics, of all things. It is a bourbon and burger bar. They serve the best burgers and they serve amazing bourbons and rye whiskeys.
Interesting.
Got to try.
It's actually Rowan in the chat. Are we still on for Sunday, Rowan? I think we're going to the Galloping Ghost. I think that's the plan.
No, that's okay. I may see you guys there if you go. I'm gonna try very hard.
Yeah,
to get there.
Yeah, message me if you're there. Well, I'm not sure what time we're going to be there, but
because I try to go, and if you don't go next time you go, we will make that happen. We will have a Galloping Ghost meetup. I'm fucking there enough to do that. That is
awesome.
It's about a once a month
planning on it. Rowan says we're on for Sunday. So.
Awesome. No, it's one of the greatest places on earth. It is literally one of my fucking special places. And I'm curious, once you've had around an entire day with those arcade machines, if your opinion on that doesn't alter a little bit. Because it's hard it's very hard to explain integrated hardware and software to someone that doesn't have an arcade bag. It's just very hard to explain. It's something you have to feel. And you might get in there and be like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Zoo. But let
me be clear. Let me be clear. So what you're saying, I totally get it. Like some of the experiences I've had on like the 3DS or the Wii or the Wii U that have used the unique hardware of that particular console have been fantastic. Like, it could only have been done with this integrated hardware and software thing, right? Like, and I see the benefit of that. But what I'm saying is, like, it's possible to give me a similar experience or give me that same experience if you provide some accessory hardware to go along with the game. So if we have a box that plays every game and you give me a piece of, accessory hardware that goes with a particular game, that makes the barrier to entry for the game a little bit higher. But for me personally, that might be worth investing in. That's not a good mass market strategy.
I certainly think it would be easier to do that with a Nintendo product than it would an arcade PCB board. So I think, again, to get back to the conversation, because I sort of moved goalposts on you. With Nintendo games, I do think that Nintendo games could successfully have that happen on, say, a PC or all consoles with enough effort and enough care. Now, Nintendo would want to make sure they tailor each one to that and make it really pop. But yeah, there's certainly an opportunity for Nintendo to do that, much more than, say, taking an arcade cabinet and transferring that to the console or PC experience. Any gearheads will tell you it's literally impossible. It's
and depending on what Nintendo does next, like they, if they're settling into the Switch as their format, like this is going to be what their consoles are going forward, the sort of hybrid handheld and home console thing.
It is smart.
Then it's a smart move, and then it becomes much more possible for that, future that I'm envisioning where everything is available on everything. That's possible if everybody settles into that sort of standardized format sort of thing.
Yes.
Because I can play even with PC games, I can play PC games on my PC or I can play them on my Steam Deck remotely, and it's the same experience, right? Like, if Nintendo wants to jump on that train, they're already there. Like, they already have that,
100%. But yeah, man, you got me excited. I'm checking schedules and everything now. Yeah, I don't currently have anything for Sunday, so yeah, I might be taking an
Yeah, let
Amtrak
me know.
to
Let me know
Brookfield.
what time you're going to be there, and I'll let you know what time we're going to be there, and we'll try to
Yeah,
coordinate a
I
little bit.
might I might be taking a train up to an Amtrak up to Brookfield. Yeah, it sounds awesome. And yes, Rylan says Burger Antics is fantastic. Yeah, it's again one of my the combination of Burger Antics and Galloping Ghost is like my life would be lesser without that combo for sure. Brick Barnes says Flipping the Switch got a question for you. Did you watch the Capitol being attacked by people who Trump sent to attack it? I did. I watched it live on TV, and till this day, it really makes me upset. Yeah, anytime people get hurt, my understanding is that there were like not only protesters that got hurt, but also there was even some cops that got hurt. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, man. Anytime people get hurt, it's not good. What I will tell you, Brooke, is that is a very common occurrence in civilizations that are on the downward side of their apex, which I actually believe
on the decline. Yeah.
That's I don't think it's going to get less common, is what I'm trying to say. One of the things about being an anarchist is that, and not the nihilistic anarchist. The anarchists often get a bad rap for being nihilists and just, it's all chaos. And I don't mean that. I mean things like mutual aid. I'm a big proponent of mutual aid. I'm a big proponent of minimalism. These are all aspects. Basically, if you've played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, don't think of Malos. He's kind of the opposite. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a tale of two nihilists, essentially. So you have Malos, who's kind of the more destructive nihilism. And then you've got the Rex, who's the positive nihilist. So what is nihilism, and how does that play into anarchy? So a good example of this is nihilism will tell you life has no inherent meaning. Okay, so both Malos and Rex do agree with that, especially as that game goes on and Rex sees, truly, hey, there's no meaning here. But what separates Malos from Rex is where Malos gives into despair and destruction, Rex will say, yes, it's correct that life has no inherent meaning, except for the meaning that we give it.
That we give it. Yep, 100%.
And that plays so well into your what I like to call positive anarchism, right? So essentially, just think of it that way. Just think of it. A good example. If you all played Fallout 4, the Minutemen. Minutemen are a good example, or probably the best example I can explain to gamers on, which is a loose affiliation of localized volunteerist communities that help each other out when they get in trouble. And that's kind of my ethos. A very loosely organized thing. And people will say, well, but you don't get a lot of the trappings of civilization you get. Yeah, that's right. And also, but think about it, like, well, yeah, it's very true that the things that we have built, the nation state, it's very true that there are large trappings of civilization that surround that. And it is very nice and it's very comfy. But if the road that we traveled led us to this, and it's only getting worse, guys, of what use was that road? So just think about that. Definitely worth thinking about. I do think there's a better way to live, and I don't think we've quite cracked it collectively as a mass species yet.
I talk about brain worms a lot when it comes to to internet communities. When it comes to internet communities, and from everything from political standpoints to console preferences, like a lot of people have the brain worms where it's like, I've been infected with this perspective and I'm on this team now. I have to like defend this team's perspective or position, and I need to attack the other team. It's like, if we can just be kind to each other, give each other the benefit of the doubt, that's, I don't know, like, I'm naive a little bit in that I hope that will work out for me when I do that, and it does most of the time.
It does most of the time. Most people are good. That's the thing.
Yeah, that I honestly believe that most people at their core do not mean you harm. You know, like there are a vocal minority of people that might wish you harm, that might mean you harm.
That's true.
But the vast majority of people do not mean you harm. And you obviously, as a good person, don't mean them harm either.
Yeah,
and if we can just lean into that and just
and if you remove the scarcity, even most of that disappears, is what I will argue. If you remove this artificially imposed scarcity,
let's just be, if we can just be kind to each other,
it's a hell of a start.
I don't know. It's people think of it as being naive, and it's like, yeah, if I'm going to be called naive, it's going to be because I say that, like, we need to be kind to each other. Like, even if we disagree, even if you think that somebody's perspectives on the world or politics are abhorrent, even if you think that their perspectives are disgusting, be kind to them, because I don't know about you, but like, I've never changed an opinion because someone was mad at me or because someone was mean to me. Like, I've changed in my opinions because someone kindly showed me where I was wrong. You know what I mean? Like, that's being kind, engaging with people on their level, meeting them where they are. That's how people change their minds, not through screaming at them, not through attacking them. Like, if you can assume the best about people, the vast majority of the time, you're going to be proven right. You may get burned a few times. I've been burned a few times, but the vast majority of the time you're going to be right, and your experience of life is going to be so much more pleasant overall, I think.
Branden,
I'm very drunk. I'm sorry.
Branden, I'd rather be a sucker 1 time out of 100 than an asshole 99 times out of 100.
Yes, 100%.
I'd rather you're going to be a sucker 1 time out of 100 with those people. You're going to be an asshole 99 times out of 100 if you choose to be an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be an asshole. DBAA, it's an easy rule. Don't be an asshole. And think about it from this perspective, guys. I mean, what he said is 100% true. Think about it from the perspective of how hard it is to persuade somebody who is crystallized into a set of thinking anyway. So already, just when you disagree, when you say something that challenges the way a person views reality, the shields immediately go up, no matter how fucking polite you are. So imagine how much more fierce those shields get if you're an asshole about it. Shields are already up. The shields just get stronger with you being forceful. So Ben Franklin was famous about this. And again, Ben Franklin had a lot of vices, but one of the things you can never say about Ben Franklin is that he wasn't an expert handler of people. Ben Franklin used to do things like, so for example, and I try to do this, I forget often, especially as I get drunk, but if you disagree with somebody, he'll put it like this. He'll say, now that's one way to look at it, but let me show you a different perspective, or let me show you another way you can view this. And he almost passively disagrees in order to get past their shields like that. It's really an interesting tactic. And Frederick Douglass was also very famous for doing that too. And what's interesting, Frederick Douglass was known as being a firebrand, but when he was in person, like he could literally take you by the hand and guide you anywhere, because he was just such a great communicator, not only on a mass people level, because he was great with the printing press and his writing, but on an individual level, he was a master of individual person-to-person communication. I find a lot to admire about those two, in particular about those things. Hitler had that message on lockdown 100 years ago. Oh, in terms of my persuasion monologue, yeah. Mike, and the thing is, human beings, and this is the big problem that we have here in the anarchist side of things, humanity has not yet come up with a solution for the demagogue that isn't extraordinarily violent. That's the thing. And as someone who abhors violence, I don't have an answer to the demagogue either. No matter where they come from, the charismatic demagogue is the problem. And if you can crack that, Mike, you've basically solved for a lot of humanity's organizational and structural issues. So I'm a big believer in cybernetics, cybernetic theory, and I go on about it at length. Everybody in this fucking chat who's a regular on the channel knows about Ashby's law, cybernetic theory. A system is what it does. It's a fucking trope of this show at this point. But The demagogue bypasses all of that. The demagogue is literally a black swan. So those who have read Foundation trilogy by Isaac Asimov, right? You got the mule. And what is the mule? So keep in mind that Foundation, the scientist, I can't think of his name because I'm too fucking drunk, but the scientist in Foundation saw that the empire was getting ready to collapse. And so he was a mathematician who literally solved for every variable, right? But he didn't solve for the mule because the mule was literally a freak. The mule was a person who had that reality distortion field. And the mule could literally brainwash you just by making eye contact. Now, that's a variable. It had never been seen before, and so it was a variable that this mathematician could not account for. And it literally collapsed the Foundation, which was this little enclave that was supposed to survive the coming strife. Like, he literally brought the whole thing down. And the whole story of that, and that's the demagogue. That's essentially a stand-in for the demagogue, which we do not have an answer for. And it'll happen time and time again until we have an answer for it, and we just don't. We don't have an answer for somebody that is extraordinarily charismatic, has absolutely no shame, and is very adept at talking to mass groups of people at once. We don't have an answer for that.
The problem, one of the big problems, is that we're all so afraid all the time, right? Like it's
fear.
The demagogue us because we're afraid, and they say we have a solution to your fear, right?
And
we're going to show you these are the people that you need to be against. These are the people you need to hate because they're the ones that are causing you to be afraid and giving you reason to be afraid. And it's just, I mean, generally speaking, it's just not true. But like, because we're afraid, we're willing to just kind of accept that as truth. And it's just not. Like, get to know people that are different than you, and you'll see that like what you think you know about groups of people, big swaths of people, are just not true. It's just not correct. You know?
No, there's too much variable. There's too much variability in humanity to lump even to a small group, let alone a large group or demographic. Too much variability in the human condition. Again, to quote, I'll give it to Charlie Chaplin from The Dictator. Great fucking quote. He said, by these promises, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They always will. Machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. Don't give yourself to these brutes. Don't do it. But again, that's a nice thought. But again, we don't have an actual solution to that. But it's a nice thought, and it's something that, again, just start by not being an asshole, and stop by not being so scared. Brooke Barnes says, anything to do with Trump or politics upsets me, so I rarely talk about Trump or politics or watch TV news. Yeah, stop watching the news. So there would be my advice to just about everybody. Stop watching the news because the news contrives to frighten you. So stop watching.
Right. That's why they're there. That's somebody in the chat, I think, mentioned the 24 news. Maybe it was Rush Dog or somebody.
Yeah, it's mentioned
coming right
the
24 news, like 24-hour news cycle was like the origin of all of this. And it's true. Like we're upset all the time because they want us to be upset because that makes money. Like that's valuable to them for us to be upset. So like disengaging from that, like I'm not saying that you should be disengaged from society. You should be a good citizen and like stay informed about events that are going on. But, you know, immersing yourself in that 24-hour news cycle doesn't benefit anybody except the news organization.
Half hour a day, guys.
It's just like the
half hour a day.
It's just like the console war thing. Like the only people that benefit from the console wars are Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. We don't benefit from that. They benefit from it because they've created the board and we're just pawns on it, right? Like,
yes, 100%. And that's the thing. Yeah, my common advice I give to everybody: limit your news intake. Either if you can't stop watching the news, limit it to half an hour. Spend the day in bed and be good to yourself every now and then. Those are all essential.
I'm gonna have to watch this back tomorrow and see if I'm making any sense because I feel like
you're doing good, homie.
I feel like I'm just extremely drunk.
No, and keep in mind, and a little secret to the show. That's why you'll notice differentiation in these is I let my guests do what's called pacing and leading, which is another psychological trick, by the way. I'm gonna peel back the magician's trick as far as some of the psychological trickery that they use on you guys. So pacing and leading is something to where you match the emotional state. Tell me where you've seen this before, Branden. Pacing and leading is where you match the emotional state of the person you're talking to. You take on their position more than they believe it, very forcefully. And then once they're comfortable, then now that you paced them, now you can lead them wherever you want to go. So what I do is not for any nasty reason like that, but I pace and lead, but I let the guest pace and lead. So if the more they drink, the more I drink. And that makes for an equal dynamic in the show. Let's see here. Let's see, but best advice I could ever give you is quote unquote stop watching the news. You'll be much happier. Mike Clark says apologies.
Care for yourself. Self-care.
Yes, be good to yourself. Apologies didn't figure it'd be such a deep dive when network news chose to monetize the nightly news. That was the point at which they lost control of the narrative. I agree with all that, and except there's no need to apologize. Again, I'm fucking fearless. Like I don't, and again, not trying to drag other people down with me, but you can ask me any fucking question in the world, and I'll answer it on here. Like I'm like Ron Burgundy. If the question is in here, if the super chat is on, I will read the super chat verbatim. So be careful with that power, guys. Don't use any gamer words. That's all I ask you. I may not read the gamer words. Don't do that to it. If you wouldn't say it, here's a good rule. If you wouldn't say it in real life to somebody, don't type it in the super chat. That makes sense.
That's good advice for the internet in general,
yes.
I think.
If you wouldn't say it in real life to somebody, don't fucking say it. And then we love you, Flipper. Well, I love you too, brother. I love you too, man. I love all y'all. Rush Dog says, doing well, Branden, you? How you hold in, Branden?
Good. Very good. I'm hanging in there. I'm feeling a little loopy, but I'm hanging in there.
Rowan 998.
That's the premise, right? Liquored Up Live. Like we're talking about Liquored Up Live. We're liquored up and we're live. So
Liquored Up Live. We got a bottle of that ume, and it just means plum in Japanese. Now, Rowan, how do you like the ume? Are you digging it, man? I really like it. Rush Dog said the Wii U launched Splatoon, which is an absolute banger of a third-person shooter, which, we got to that. Yep, and I would agree with that. Game changer. Mario World is the GOAT and will still be very hard to replace that. Yeah, they didn't get it done. Mario 3 is the GOAT, Mike Clark. But Mario World is close enough. It's close enough to where I'm not gonna split hairs about it. What I will tell you, though, is the fact, and here's my argument for Mario 3. And I can get in depth, and I can tell you why Mario 3 is the better game. But I'll just simply leave it at this. The fact that we even have to have the debate, an 8-bit game versus a 16-bit game, and we still have to have the argument, is all the proof I need of Mario 3. Because it's a 16-bit game. It should blow. It shouldn't be an argument. It shouldn't be an argument. It's a 16-bit game versus a...
They perfected the formula in Mario 3. Mario World is just sort of a small evolution of the informant. I can't even say words anymore.
The levels are too long. The levels are too fucking long. Miyamoto famously played Mario 3, and he said, after he got done playing Mario 3, Miyamoto said, "That's it? Yeah, dude, that's it." And that's why we love it. The levels are on average like a minute apiece. It's so short, sharp. And
I tend to prefer the longer levels, which I think is one of the reasons. I think that along with the fact that feels like there's more secrets to discover in Mario World is why I prefer Mario World. But they're as neck and neck as two Mario games can be, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Let's see. Here we got Wii U also had Mario Kart 8, to be fair, which is the best-selling Switch game. Isn't that fucking something else? You know, you got this, and I'll tell you what. And again, Rush Dog's gonna laugh because it's not true, but I'm drunk, so fuck it. I feel it. I'm gonna say it. The reason why Mario Kart 8 is doing so well on the Switch is because they corrected the biggest fucking problem with Mario Kart 8. Because Mario Kart 8 had a big problem when it launched, guys. That's right. It had a big problem when it launched. No fucking real battle mode. This dumb fucking bullshit.
Battle mode, yeah.
Of driving around a track to pop balloons. Fuck, get the hell out of here. Give me my arena battle mode where you can pop some actual balloons.
My biggest concern is, like, what does Mario Kart 9 look like? Like, Mario
I don't know.
Has set the bar with the DLC has set the bar so high. I don't know what Mario Kart 9 looks like on the Switch too. I'm a little worried.
And the question follows that. The question that follows that is, if you don't know what Mario Kart 9 looks like, an even bigger question if you're an exec at Nintendo, how do you move the 60 million Mario Kart 8 customers to new hardware? How do you get that done? How do you convince the Mario Kart 8 customers who are very happy, they're still playing it, how do you convince them to upgrade hardware for Mario Kart 9? That's going to be a big, tough ask. But if anybody can do it, it's Nintendo EPD.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm skeptical, but I will not be shocked if they. I won't be shocked if they pull it off, because they've pulled off some big things in the past. So.
Oh, you fucker! He's gonna be right. But Rush Dog says, let's put it to the chat. Do you play more battle mode or more racing when you play Mario Kart? So I'm gonna even participate.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna participate in this, Rush. And I gotta be honest. Racing. Chat, what say you?
Racing, yeah. I mean,
yep.
That's the funny thing is, like, Mario 64, it was battle mode 100%. It was just battle mode. But with Mario Kart 8, it's racing.
Racing, yeah. No, it's racing. But battle mode is important, damn it. I'm going to die on this drunk hill. Battle mode is very, very important. Very, very important. Let's see, where were we here? Got lost here. Oh, no. Got lost in the chat. There's so many. Oh, no.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody coming out.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay. Mark, to be fair, it's the best-selling Switch game. And then Upper Nimbus says, poor Mario Sunshine. Well, you never know, Upper Nimbus. I could play Mario Sunshine, and I could get blown the fuck out by it. You never know.
Maybe Zoo's going to love it.
Yeah.
Maybe Zoo's going to love it.
Could be.
I don't know.
Could be. I rejected at that point. You got to remember, Upper Nimbus. At that point, I was already mad about not getting my 2D Mario on the N64. Never got the 2D Mario game. I was so fucking mad at Nintendo at that point that literally it was going to be hard to make me happy. And then the GameCube was not the system to get it done. It was not that guy. And so that system came out, and I saw that. My literal reaction to that is, what the hell is this window washer game, and what does this have to do with Mario Brothers? That was my literal reaction. Pass. That was my reaction. And that was a bit prejudiced. I'm not going to lie. That was a bit prejudiced. Then yes, Mario Kart 8, Breath of the Wild, and Xeno. All good, all great games. And Rush Dog said, Sue played the Breath of the Wild card. I'm out of Wii U cards at this point. Yeah, it's Breath of the Wild, Splatoon, and that's it for like EPD Nintendo games. Mike Clark said, I'm assuming Nintendo internal studios moved on from Wii U pretty quick. Yeah, it was a burning platform, and they were not going to save it. They had to. They absolutely had to.
Yeah. I mean, and they made the right choice, obviously. Like, the Switch is a phenomenon, so they did the right thing.
Also, consolidating, a big risk at the time. I even said at the time, oh boy, that's a big risk, but I was confident they were going to get it done. Consolidating your two markets, consolidating the handheld and the console market together, big risk, because if that system would have tanked, there would have been no handheld to buoy it. But it ended up doing well. Ended up doing really well. And Upper Nimbus said, but the tropical setting is beautiful. It very much was. And the things
I will 100% agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Damon X Machina is getting a sequel. Why is this not? Uh-oh. There it is. Okay. I think we lost Branden. Let me try to get him back in here. There he is. Branden, you there?
I lost you there for I'm here. I lost you there for
I think it was on my end that
15
time.
seconds.
A rare miss from my internet because it wouldn't even let me load up the next comment.
Oh, really?
And the next comment is Damon X Machina is getting a sequel, and that is the best new release I heard today. Yeah, it'd be nice if Marvelous would let us cover it.
Yeah, we can't show anything because they will copyright strike it, but but that is good news.
But that's good news because I mean, and here's the thing: like I've not actually played any of Damon X Machina. So, Mike, how was that? I know it was kind of a mixed reception, but I don't hold that against it because all mech games seem to get a mixed reception. You either like giant robots or you hate giant robots. Like I love giant robot stuff. I love giant robot stuff. M hates giant robot stuff. Now there is an exception to that, and it's Gunbuster. She loves Gunbuster.
Gunbuster, interesting.
Gunbuster is the one. Yeah, Gunbuster. She likes everything else. Giant robots, pass, hard pass. But
you know, my wife's not very into anime, but she surprisingly got into Attack on Titan. I know that's not giant robots, but it's giant people. So, like, for some reason, this was the epitome of a show that I thought she would not care for. Like, definitely not her style. She really got into Attack on Titan. It was very strange.
Nah, yeah. I'll give you another one. For the missus, try His or Her Circumstance. It's also made by Gynax. So but yeah, His. Or
I know Gynax. Yep. I'm familiar with it. I haven't seen it, but I am familiar.
His or Her Circumstance, and then the other one. I'm trying to think of other ones she liked. The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, season 1 only.
That shows a goat. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one. Madoka Magica, we liked.
Oh my God, Madoka Magica is astounding.
Konosuba. She digs Konosuba.
Konosuba's great. I love Konosuba. Some people get on that show about they're like, oh, it's not funny. I'm like, how is it not funny? It's such a funny show. I think it's very funny.
I can't convince her to like Dragon Ball or not. I can't convince her to like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because she says or not. No, Yu Yu. Gosh, I'm feeling it too, Branden. Yu Yu Hakusho, she will not watch because it's a Dragon Ball ripoff, which I feel
I've never seen Yu Yu Hakusho.
Very stupid. The Dark Tournament arc is amazing. I haven't seen past that, but the Dark Tournament arc is amazing. But anyway, let's see. I agree that the control scheme isn't the best with Sunshine, but I guess it's the nostalgia goggles which are blinding me. Or Upper Nimbus, you could just like the game, and that's perfectly okay.
Yeah, whether it's nostalgia or whether you know it's just a good game, or a good game that I didn't connect with. It's entirely possible that you know everybody that expresses an opinion online sort of expresses it as though their opinion is some sort of immutable fact. But I played it at a particular time in my life, and maybe if I played it at a different time in my life, I'd feel different about it. It's just who knows, man? Stuff's crazy. Stuff hits us in different ways at different times, and that's just the way it is,
Right.
It could be a great game. I think enough people like it that I can't deny that it has appeal for a lot of people,
100%. And that's the thing about taste. And that's why you'll almost never hear me say, and Branden can vouch for this. You'll never hear me say that game was bad, especially if I've never played it. What I will say instead is that game didn't sell. So again, I'm dealing with objective reality, not getting into subjective reality, which is that game good? I can't fucking say if a game is good. I can only tell you if I liked it. I can tell you the game didn't sell.
Non est disputandum.
Yeah.
As they say in Latin, there is no accounting for taste.
No accounting for taste. Man, that Latin's like talking dirty, man. I like that.
I only speak Latin when I'm very drunk.
Yes. Brick Barnes says, flipping the switch, I just learned that on Friday, tomorrow evening, that Toonami is bringing back certain anime to watch for people who used to watch back in the day. Dragon Ball Z, Kai, Sailor Moon, and Naruto. Well, thanks, Brooke. I know what I'm doing tomorrow night now.
Give me some Sailor Moon. That was like my gateway drug. That's
I watched Sailor Moon. I watched Sailor Moon back in the day. It was
Sailor Moon was my number 2. Robotech was my number 1, but Sailor Moon was
my
number
Robotech,
2, sure.
Sailor Moon. There was a show called Glitch or Short Circuit, or it was
Reboot.
Reboot. That's the show. Fucking Reboot, man. Reboot was the shit.
I liked my one of my favorite Toonami shows, anime shows, was Outlaw Star.
Outlaw Star was great.
Outlaw Star, amazing show. Love that show.
And also where most of us got our start with Cowboy Bebop, the absolute fucking masterpiece.
Cowboy Bebop as an 18-year-old, like just kind of getting used to being sort of an adult. Like Cowboy Bebop was instrumental in like defining my
I feel like it was a holy experience for a lot of people, honestly. Like that was a lot of our first real foray into what I would consider genuine literature, honestly. Because I would say Cowboy Bebop is literary. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Really?
Hey, Mark, you can come. Mark, my professor friend, you can come fucking. He's a literary professor who said Final Fantasy VII is an art. You can come fucking fight me. That anime is up to anything you can throw at it, except maybe like the grandest of grands. Like Cowboy Bebop is literature. It's art. It's not. It may not be Frankenstein, but it's every bit of Cormac McCarthy, and then some. And we can fight over that. You don't like that? I'll fight you in the damn street if you say otherwise. So, it's called Toonami Rewind Block from Adult Swim every Friday evening from 4 to 6 p.m. Central Time. And Chill Collects is in the house. What's up, Chill? What's going on? And then everybody greeting Chill. And Nepronimmer says, hey, Chill, I'm just chilling and editing videos. So then Rush Dog says, I've really enjoyed it. I'm a big fan of St. Germain's, which is, that's awesome. I think Branden froze out. Oh, no, there he is. Okay.
Am I still here?
Yeah, you froze for a second, but you're good. I also learned that I can watch Boruto dubbed on Hulu this Saturday, all 293 episodes. Yeah, I need to get back. Yeah, One Piece is my dragon to slay. I need to get back on One Piece. I'm about 60 episodes in, which that only means about another 1,000 to go, right, guys?
Yeah, 1,000 plus. Wow. Zoo, catch up on the comments. I got to run to the restroom, and I will be right back.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep, sure will.
All right, be right back.
Rush Dog just greeting Chill. Chill says, that's awesome, Nimbus. What's up, Rush? Everybody greeting each other. Just gonna sit here and slobber on myself. Hey, what better use for a Thursday night, Mike? What better use? We're all here. We're all drinking. We're having a good old time tonight. Real hootenanny. I'm loving it. Analog's next console is the Booty Smack. We're gonna have to now, Rowan. We're gonna have to wait for Branden to come back on that, homie. We're gonna have to wait on. We're gonna come back to that when Branden comes back. We can definitely debate why Nintendo games are better because of their hardware. I enjoy PC games, long live GOG, but in no world are they PC games of the same quality. Now, Mikey, what I'm going to tell you, buddy, is Morrowind, Star Control 2, Ultima 7, there is nothing on any Nintendo system like those three games. Fuck, there's nothing on PC games that are like those three games now. So I would encourage you before you say that there's nothing of the same quality as Mario 3 or Metroid Dread or Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, I would strongly encourage you to try Ultima 7, The Black Gate. Baldur's Gate 3 is another one, by the way. Star Control 2 and The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, homie. I promise you. They're up to the challenge, but those are a vast tiny minority compared to what you're saying. Overall, Nintendo quality destroys PC gaming quality because PC gaming is driven by the third-party cartel, and they typically make games that are shit. They just do. But those 3 games are absolutely up to the challenge of Mario 3 and its ilk. So yeah, Rowan 998 says Burger Antics is great. It absolutely is. Upper Nimbus, oh man, that sounds like fun. Shame I live in Australia. Maybe we'll fly out here sometime, Nimbus. I'm not averse to doing that. If you're willing to make that fucking jet laggy trip, it's a long way to the States, to Chicago area. But yeah, if hit me up, maybe we'll do that sometime for you, homie. That way you can see the Galloping Ghost because it's great. It's like I said, it's literally a holy site for gamers. I consider it to be like holy ground. It's the world's largest arcade. It's amazing. Rush Dog said Sega used to have some of the best integrated hardware and software. Indeed, 100%. Games like Afterburner and Hang On were more like amusement park rides than video games. Yeah, the one that's in my mind now, because it was the one that I was the most enamored with last time I went to Galloping Ghost, was actually, it wasn't Sega, but it was Darius. There was this Darius game where you could play with 4 players and you could all sit. It had a seating area, and there were 3 fucking screens on this Darius arcade game. 3 screens. And it was incredible, man. And then he says, R.E. Brandon's point, the only way to change someone's mind is to engage with them and meet them where they're at. Yeah, pacing and leading. Very important, Rush Dog. Very important. Hey, we got to go back to something. So Rowan says Analog's next console is the Booty Smacker powered by FPGA. I had to go back to revisit that with you. And then Ian Stahl is here. Welcome, Ian. I'm glad you were able to make it. And he says, you mean I've been shouting into the void for nothing? Well, if you're having fun, but buddy, if you're having fun, it's all that matters.
That's what it's all about.
Shout into that void if it's fun. Rush Dog says SNES Hub Era Zoo was less shy about being an asshole. Laugh out loud. Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason why I give Masamune shit every once in a while for not acquiescing to the request to pull all that shit down. And I'm glad he kept it up now because it is a fun time machine. It's like getting in the DeLorean and going back to fresh, pressed business suit, fresh out of business school Zoo that just didn't know jack shit about the world. Didn't know jack shit about the world. Nothing about the world. And it is a fun, I'm glad it's still up. Yeah, anybody who wants to see what a young idiot looks like can go and look at some of those SNES Hub discussions. Now, it's not that I was wrong all the time, but there was a lot of shit that I just was completely wrong about. And it's a good little time machine, 100%. And yeah, I was much more of an asshole in that era. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. Young, impetuous, and just quite dumb. And when you're dumb, you're also mean sometimes. 100%. I'll never forget there was this one post, and I was ragging on Sony. And again, this is me I got my first start in like marketing executive stuff. And I'll never forget that Sony had this neckbeard guy. They're like E3 thing. And I said, and the mask and the Sony representative for E3 is neckbeard. And I was like ragging on why did they choose this fucking young adult male neckbeard guy to be the advertisement for their E3 show. And everybody just jumped on me for that because they're like, what the fuck is wrong with him? Well, so he has a neck beard. You're weird. What are you talking about? And I'm like, because nobody wants to see that. The show Freaks and Geeks ran for 1 season and fucking went out of business because nobody watched it. What people want are like Conan, the Barbarian style actors or like conventionally attractive women. And oh my God, the hate I got on that, I would not back down. It's like, no, you don't put people like this in your advertising. Sony already has all the fucking neck beards. They need to go with a Conan looking guy. And it was the stupidest fucking shit, but it was so funny because looking back, it's like, I get what, and here's the thing, I can defend it because I haven't changed. I'm just less of an asshole because I will still make the argument that you don't need to advertise to the demographic you already have, which is the young adult male. But at the same time, is the Conan guy going to get more people? No. You need to do what the Nintendo Wii did and have like families and older people and women and everybody having fun. Everybody having fun with the games. Not this Conan the Barbarian guy, this Rico Suave looking guy. That no. So I was
Zoo. Why can't I go to playingwithsuperpower.com? My Malwarebytes is blocking it. It says
oh
it's
no, yeah, there's so much fun to mine there. Yeah, the post, the actual post you're looking for is, and the new face of Sony at E3 is Neckbeard, is the name of the post, literally. And my then girlfriend at the time was in there arguing too, like Wildlife Warriors, like just shut up. It's gold. It's fucking gold. I'm glad it's still up. But I hopefully you can get your malware sorted, because that shouldn't be happening. It's still all up.
I'll have to add it to the whitelist, I guess, to get into it.
There's it's the same tag, by the way. It's Manganzu. Just having a normal conversation on the internet is nearly impossible, Mike Clark says. This is by far the best live show community I have ever watched and listened to. That means a lot, man. Because I don't claim to do anything special. Literally, I just fire up a Discord chat with somebody I like, and we just talk video games and whatever else comes to mind. So that means a lot. And again, I do think there's something to long-form communication. I think there's something there that gets lost in the soundbite type culture that a lot of podcasts and shows do have. So,
yep.
Brooke Barnes says
that's why I come on here, because having a conversation with Zoo is always enlightening and entertaining, and like I feel good about it. You know what I mean? Like, you can have conversations with people and you just feel like, oh, I wasted my time, but I never feel that way.
That's why I come on here. That. No, I appreciate that. Everybody who comes on seems to have a lot of fun. Everybody who comes on seems to have a whole lot of fun. So I guess I can't say too much more that is better than that. So Brooke Barnes says, I have family members who believes that day, I think you're talking about, just confirm, you're talking about like the Jan 6 day, did not happen. 6, did not happen at all at the Capitol. I miss my dad every day. I still wish I could hear his opinions about a lot of things happening today. Well, Brooke, here's my advice to you on that. Call your dad. Listen to your dad. He's going to say a lot of stuff you don't like. He's going to say a lot of stuff that might trigger you. But it is your dad, and as long as he's not getting rowdy with anybody, make that phone call. Be the one to make that phone call. And do that as a favor to me. You will appreciate doing that one day. Now, in terms of the fact that saying that day didn't happen at all, that's kind of hard, because there's an entire archive worth of videos footage of the people doing their thing on that day. So to say it didn't happen, I think that is delusional. But people, in my experience, tend to be delusional when it comes to politics. So that doesn't surprise me. But it absolutely, so you're not crazy. That day did happen, but call your dad if you can do it. If you can do it for me, just give your dad a call, and maybe you guys can come to an agreement where you avoid topics that make you unhappy. And he should respect you, and he should be willing to do that for you.
Or if your dad's still with us, like, it's possible that maybe your dad's not with us any longer, and that could be
as well. And that could also be the case. And in that case,
in which case there are people out there that are like-minded and that will listen to you.
100%.
Myself and Zoo included.
Anytime. And hell, Brooke, you need to come on the show if you get. I know you probably, some people are shy, but if you ever want to come on the show, I would love to talk to you. You're a long time. I would love to talk to you, man. Not only that, but I have the same thing. Like, let's say it is that other thing. And I hope not. I hope your father's still with us. But I have a grandparent that I feel very much the same way about every single day. It's like, man, I sure wish I could kind of pick her brain on this, you know. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of wisdom there sometimes as well on that other end of things.
Yep.
So Rowan says, I'm a huge fan of it. I generally drink on the rock straight, but I need to try your drink as well. Yeah, it's good. It's the bourbon, because that bourbon does the nice, smooth, strong spirit, and then it's rounded out by the sweetness of the plum and the floral notes of the elderflower. It needs a little something else, maybe like a tonic water or something. It's not complete. It can be improved upon, but I think the base for a really good cocktail is there actually. And then the chat. He says, there's about, let's put it to the chat, racing or battle mode. There's lots that could do with Mario Kart 9. Some single player content like Mario Kart DS. Ooh, Diddy Kong Racing. I like that. Diddy Kong Racing could be an amazing blueprint for an expansion on Mario Kart.
If you were to have an adventure mode of some kind in Mario Kart 9, that I'm on board for that for sure.
Yeah, or how about a track editor? Which go back to your Excite days. 100%.
Yeah.
And then I said racing. Yeah, racing for me. Racing unless my kids come to visit. Mike Clark says, my 50th birthday present from the kids was them playing Double Dash 4 together. And then I think I have drunk too much. Don't worry about it. It's only Thursday. So tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow's Friday, and they can fucking deal with it because it's Friday. Wait, you mean it's okay to not like Souls games? I would say no, but I understand why a lot of people don't like Souls games. I love Dark Souls, and I think Bloodborne might be a masterpiece.
Bloodborne is a modern masterpiece, 100%. The fact that Sony can't figure out what to do with Bloodborne is one of the biggest detriments that Sony has demonstrated. That's a slam dunk. Make more Bloodborne or remaster Bloodborne. Do something with Bloodborne, and you will win over the hearts and minds of so many PlayStation fans, and they can't do it. I had my fingers crossed today in the state of play. Nothing as usual, and it's the biggest own goal. They could just make more Bloodborne, and I think we would be happy.
100. Bloodborne cart comes out tomorrow. So there's that. We get Bloodborne cart tomorrow.
Bloodborne cart?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Bloodborne cart does come out tomorrow, so at least we're getting something out of Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Rush Dog says, I've never seen Yu Yu Hakusho, but I have played the Sega Genesis fighting game based on the IP developed by Treasure. It's very good. And then Rush Dog says, Brandon is around my age. Did you watch old Astro Boy episodes back in the day?
I did. So I never saw Astro Boy. I was only sort of aware of it, but I never actually saw Astro Boy when I was a kid.
Okay. Yeah. An update from Brooke. So Brooke says, my dad is dead. He's been dead since May 9, 2021. I am so sorry to hear that. Losing a parent is hard, man. I haven't had to go through that yet, but I am dreading that eventuality. I am dreading.
I'm very so hard. My wife's lost both of her parents. I lost my stepdad a couple of years ago.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it is one of the hardest things you can deal with. And yeah, my heart goes out to you. It's terrible.
100%. Now, I don't know how to get on to talk to you. If you could teach me how or show me how to get on and talk with you. Yeah. Now you're talking to the wrong guy for this, but I think I know enough about it sufficiently to get you through it. So one, you have to have a Discord.
Discord is the key.
It's the only thing I know how to use. Number two, if you have a Discord, let me know what your Discord handle is. I will add you to my friends list, and then I can just pull you on in a call. It's that easy. You just have to be on.
Yeah, once you get on Discord, it's real easy to get on to a call like this.
Yep, and then you just have to be on at the appointed time, and I call you, I bring you in, and we go live. I got a real low energy setup here. There's not much to it. It's pretty simple tech. Now, Astro Boy is another IP that Treasure developed a stellar game around. I need to know about this, Rush. There's an Astro Boy game? For what system? Look this up.
Really?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Astro Boy game. And
Astro Boy Omega Factor.
And Treasure, he said. Which Treasure is one of my favorite companies. Fucking McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure. McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure on Sega Genesis. Treasure made that fucking game, and it's actually a good license game. Now, Rush Dog will tell you it's the worst of the Treasure games. I feel like that's bullshit, but again, that's my fifis because I
Well, the worst treasure game is still a good game. You know what I mean?
What Rush Dog will also say that, but I don't know. I'm drunk and I'm getting some fifis around it, and I think that's bullshit because McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure is a fucking treasure.
Astro Boy Omega Factor is what I'm seeing for treasure. Was a Game Boy Advance game.
Yeah, by Treasure and Hitmaker. Oh my God, this looks good. Look at this game.
I have never seen this. Yeah, wow.
Oh, okay. This looks good. Look at this game. I'm going to screenshot this for the chat. Holy hell, that looks amazing. That's Game Boy Advance?
Nice, yeah.
Look at that. Wow. That's impressive for sure. Nish Quick Pops is in. What's up, Nish? I saw you got a video out. I'm going to be watching that as soon as we get done here. I'm actually excited to see what you have to say on that subject. So, welcome in, man. I'm glad you
Nish.
It. Yep, Nish is in the house. Nish made chicken yassa the other day, guys, and it looked amazing. It looked better than what I make. It looks really good looking.
Heck yeah.
One of my favorite recipes ever. And then Rush Dog says, hey, Nish. And then we've got, I played Bloodborne DLC recently, and it made one of my favorite games even better to me. Yeah, Bloodborne.
I haven't finished. Hunters? Yeah.
I haven't finished Bloodborne, but man, when I played a Bloodborne, I might like it better than Dark Souls, and you have no idea what a praise that is. It's really good.
Bloodborne is a once in a, I don't know, I feel like it's a once in a lifetime game. It's so just everything about it, from the gameplay to the setting to the atmosphere, is.
You can never take brilliant. Sony funded that, and you can never take that away from Sony for funding that.
Yep.
That way, it might be the last great native system lock. It might be the last great PlayStation game. What a tragedy that'll be. And we're gonna get to that. We're finally gonna get to that. We've been having a really lively chat, but we're gonna get to this to the state of PC. We're gonna get to the state of PC. Mike Clark says for GBA, Astro Boy Omega Factor for GBA Treasure, best game on the GBA. Whoa. Yeah, sorry for your loss, Bert. Yeah. McDonald's Treasure Land is absolutely the worst Genesis treasure game. Lies. But it's still way above average for the 16-bit licensed platformer. I don't know what the fuck compelled me to pick that game out. We went to Sears. Remember when Sears had video games? Remember when there was a Sears, Brandon?
Remember when Sears was a thing? Yeah.
We went to Sears, and literally, and y'all are gonna laugh. So there were games available. So there were 3 games that caught my eye: Comic Zone, Vector Man, and McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure.
Yep.
And somehow I ended up going home with McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure. And I still love the shit out of that game. I don't care what anybody says.
That's all right. It's a good game. Game.
It's not Comic Zone, and it's not Vector Man. But it hits me in the nostalgia.
Comic Zone. That's what an astounding, cool concept executed so brilliantly.
It was so good.
Amazing. You don't see stuff like that every day. That's worth.
Well, and then my cousin Jacob that same day went home with the Ooze, it was called. And that was a good little Genesis game. The Ooze, yeah. I might play that on stream sometime. The Ooze is, yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm going to make some butter chicken this weekend. I made Mongolian beef the other day, and it was fantastic. Mongolian beef is a great quick slap together. It's not hard, and it's very tasty. Butter chicken a little bit more involved, but very good. Butter chicken is awesome.
Yeah, Mongolian beef was always our quick.
It's a quick go-to
if we need a meal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Old Hunters was amazing, though. I gotta say, Orphan of Kos was a little overhyped. I don't even know what that is, but if it's
Old Hunters is peak Bloodborne, but it's so hard. Like I managed to beat it, but it's like you need to be on your game if you want to beat the Old Hunters DLC. It's Bloodborne. It's peak Bloodborne. It's very good.
Gotcha. I've got a second GBA card of Astro Boy if either of you guys want it. Brandon might take you up on that. I don't have the GBA to play it, but Brandon, do you have a GBA?
Dang. I have the analog pocket, so I could definitely play it.
Yeah. So Brandon might take you up on that, because then Brandon can tell me a little bit about it. McDonald's is probably the best of those three games. No shit. And then Rush Dog makes a good case here. He says Comic Zone is incredible, but it's way too hard. Yeah, I never fucking.
It was very hard.
I never beat.
It was very hard.
I couldn't get past the second level on Comic Zone as a kid. Like it is a very hard game. Very hard
for sure.
Nish Quick Pop says Lawrence, the first vicar, was harder than Orphan Hana or Orphan Haha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and in the Old Hunters, the fight against Lawrence is like the first
you fight the Lawrence
roadblock. Yes, you go back and you're kind of like in history fighting these things. Yeah, and Lawrence is a particularly hard battle for sure.
I've used Lawrence's sword, I think, in Bloodborne. It's one of the trick weapons.
I need to play Bloodborne again. God, it's been too long.
I gotta borrow a PS5 to do it. When I do that, I'm gonna be playing Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth. I'm waiting. He's playing something. I forget what I think he's finishing up God of War 2, my brother-in-law. And then he's gonna let me have the PlayStation back to try Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Nice. Mike Clark says Sears is where I bought my TurboGrafx 16 and Turbo CD. Which, again, that's great undiscovered country, Mike, and we got to have you on to talk a little bit about the TurboGrafx 16, because if Sega Genesis is the jungle of hidden gems, and Super Nintendo is the endless ocean of quality, then the TurboGrafx 16 is literally another planet. It's completely uncharted territory.
There are a handful of a good sized handful of TurboGrafx and Turbo CD games that I wish that if I had played them as a kid, I would have lost my mind. I would have been
Airzonk. Yeah, he's got one Airzonk right there. Yeah, I played it. Yeah, Airzonk is fabulous. Airzonk is.
I have not played Airzonk. I've seen like footage of it. I haven't played it myself.
Yeah, we had a buddy. We had a buddy who had one. He was like the one kid in school who had the TG16. And we're so glad that he existed, because, there were some great bangers on there.
Yeah, I didn't know anybody that had a turbo at all. Like, being able to, like, East Books 1 and 2, like,
best
that would have just blown, like, the music alone in those games would have just destroyed me as a kid.
Oh, yeah. No, like, for sure,
the fact that was possible in a video game would have just destroyed me.
Completely, just criminally underrated system.
Yeah.
And then Rush Dog says, speaking of TurboGrafx 16, I like your profile pic, Mike. So, all right, caught up on chat. Let's get to Sony State of PC. Okay. So first thing we get is Concord. This literally takes up, this is live service trash that takes up the first fucking 10 minutes of the entire conference. So keep in mind, a 30-minute
long, right? That was such a long segment.
Yep. So
for this like cinematic, not even gameplay scene from this game, a game that is ostensibly a competitive game, meaning it doesn't need a story. Like, the story is just set dressing. The story is just like a nice thing that's fun for players to like talk about with their friends, but it's not part of the experience. That was the first 7 minutes of this state of play.
Yeah. No, it was.
And it was entertaining. Like, it was like, it was a Marvel movie in, condensed down to 7 minutes. But like, that's not, I don't know. I'm not going to poo-poo anything that somebody likes, but like, it's definitely not for me. It's not my cup of tea.
Well, not only that, but then they had another piece of live service trash. It was like the Marvels, and OJ brought up, because I was in his live stream when it happened. He's like, "That's not how superheroes fight. That ain't no superhero game. That's literally Fortnite with fucking Marvel skins. He's like, that's what's happening. They're running around like fucking Fortnite characters. Like, he's like, that ain't how superheroes fight. That ain't how those heroes fight. And it's just more live service trash that Sony's just tripling down on. So God of War 2, God of War Ragnarok is getting a PC edition. So yeah, there goes.
Okay, so here's the thing that I have a hard time understanding. They're announcing PC releases in their Sony State of Play announcements.
Yep,
right?
Sony State of PC.
What PC gamers are watching the Sony State of Play? If I'm sitting down to watch the Sony State of Play, I'm a PlayStation owner. I don't really care that a game is coming to PC. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with it. It's fine. Like, put out all your games on PC if you want, if that's going to make you more money. Like, more power to you. But, like, that's not pertinent to me as a PlayStation player. Like, why is this a part of this? Like, as I was watching the announcement, I was like, didn't this game already come out? And then they're like, oh, it's coming out for PC. I'm like, that's not an announcement. That's a press release.
Right.
That's a press release. That's not a 2-minute segment in a live stream trailer announcement thing. Like, that's not what this is for. I don't
know. Astrobot is back in a new PS5 game, which that looks like the best thing they showed off. That was cool as shit.
Yeah, I'm not big into the 3D platformers anymore myself, but like that looks like a good little 3D platformer. That looks good. Yeah, I have no problem with it.
Here's Monster Hunter Wilds gameplay, which it's going to come to everything. It's Capcom and it's Monster Hunter. It's coming to everything.
Yeah, I wish that I could get into Monster Hunter. I've tried. I reviewed a Monster Hunter game for, I think, Anime News Network back in the day. And it's like, I never got hooked by it like I did like the Soulsborne types of games.
Yeah, I've tried to get into it. It's not the hook has not gotten into me yet. I did play a little bit of it briefly with my cousin when it came out for the Switch, the Monster Hunter. Oh fuck, I don't know which one it is. Monster Hunter Rising, maybe. Anyway, I don't know. That shows you what I will eventually review it. It's on the list for like
the list.
Yeah, the list for like the 450 games I have to review before I kick the fucking bucket. Silent Hill remake. So they showed off more about how they're going to ruin the new, how they're going to ruin Silent Hill 2. So only thing I have to say.
Well, let me be the contrary voice there. I saw the trailer. I watched the Silent Hill transmission after the State of Play. I thought it looked fine. I thought it looked good. I thought it looked like Silent Hill 2 remade with modern graphics and modern gameplay sensibilities. I have no problem with it. Like, I see a lot of Silent Hill fans are upset online about it.
I wouldn't say I'm upset. I have no expectations.
I feel bad for the folks that are upset about it. Like, I look at it and I'm like, it looks fine to me. It looks, do I think it's going to change my life the way Silent Hill 2 did? Like, no, that's
you can't. That's you can't. You only get to play that game for the first time.
Yeah, you only get to play that game for the first time once, and I've already played it for the first time. I think it looks fine. I think it looks good. Well, and Rush Dog says Silent Hill 2 deserves better than.
It sure does. But...
I agree, but like that's taking into consiration that Silent Hill 2 still exists. Like, I can grab my disc.
Yeah, but it's Konami. You know those motherfuckers are going to delist it the week before that game comes out. It's fucking Konami.
Oh well, sure, but I mean, like, and like that's not gonna my situation is not gonna solve everybody's problem. But like, I have the original PlayStation 2 disc. I can pop that in my backwards compatible PS3 or my PS2 or my whatever.
I've got it for Xbox.
For me, it's like I'm interested in seeing how a new team, like what perspective a new team brings to the game. I'm interested in seeing it like with actors that aren't acting like they're in some, crappy David I think of his name.
David Lynch.
David Lynch.
But
David Lynch production.
That's part of it. But that's part of it.
See, but like to me, it's not. To me, to me, the uncanniness is fine, but like that's not the only way to tell that story. I'm interested in seeing that story told. I'm interested in seeing that story told in a different way. Now, whether I like the David Lynchy version where it's weird and off-putting, or if I like the Bloober Team version better, I don't know. But I can always play the original game, and the original game still exists. And this is honestly why I'm such a big proponent of eliminating consoles as a thing.
Yeah.
Because like I can sit down and watch a movie from the 1960s. I can pull it up on Amazon. I can pull it up on Apple TV. I can, whatever platform I have, I can pull up a random movie from the 60s and I can watch that movie. I should be able to pull up any random game from any period of history and play that game. Like, there's no reason that video games should be so different from movies. Like, it's, let me experience the art, you know, the way it was originally presented to me. And if somebody wants to make a remake of a game, then I can play that. And if I don't like it, hey, I still have the original. You know what I mean? Like, there's this weird scarcity with games that, like, it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be that way.
Speaking of the lack of scarcity, as a quick aside, like there's a mod for Fallout New Vegas that allows you to download whole radio stations with DJs and everything. Like voiced actors do the DJing. And then these radio stations have like the old time radio Western shows, old time radio hard-boiled detective noir thrillers. And I'm into old time radio now, just like that, just playing Fallout and listening to this old time radio broadcast. I'm going to go find more of them. I think it's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
I love them. It's really, really interesting to listen to. And so that's kind of a new thing, a new passion I picked up just by playing a fucking mod for Fallout New Vegas. But to get back to what we're talking about, I'll tell you what worries me, and God forbid you judge a game by its cover, right? But I'm going to do that now. After saying that, I'm going to proceed to do that now. The fact that they show fucking Mary so fucking prominent on the cover to the new Silent Hill 2 tells me everything I need to know that they do not understand the story. She is so prominent on the cover. James,
you mean the way she's like faded in over the
that scared.
But isn't that cover mirroring something from the original?
No,
I feel like I've seen that image before.
His entire purpose, the entire time until he's confronted with it over and over and over, he's trying to forget about Mary. That was the whole point. That's why he created Maria, so that he would have this entirely idealized version of more playful, less miserable. His whole point was trying to bury that. And to have her so prominently featured just tells me, and I could be wrong, but looking at that tells me it's like, you guys don't know what you're doing.
Well, from the gameplay trailers,
I'll watch
like what I saw, and I can tell you I can only tell you what I saw as a person who legitimately loves Silent Hill 2 and thinks it's like one of the best video games
and I do think we're being unfair to this new team. I think we're all being very unfair. To be fair, I do think we're not being the fairest.
So from the perspective of me, from my perspective as a Silent Hill 2 fan, looking at the trailers that they put out, it looks like Silent Hill 2 to me. It looks like Silent Hill 2 with modern gameplay, with better graphics.
My bro said the voice acting
to me
good.
Like they're right, like they've done a better. They've taken a different approach.
Yeah,
you know, if you want to say that the David Lynchian sort of ethereal performances of the original were intentional, I don't know that they were, but let's say that they were.
I don't know if they were intentional, but I love them to death.
Yeah, I mean they're very entertaining. But let's say that they were intentional. You know, Bloober Team is taking a different approach to it. But my perspective when it comes to remakes, because people sometimes get up in arms about remakes and like, this doesn't need to exist, or this is going to ruin the reputation of the original or whatever. It's like, to me, the original still exists. Like, I can play the original anytime I want. If the new version, if the remake of this game, of the remake of Silent Hill 2 brings something new or interesting to the table, or allows me to experience it from a different perspective, gives me a different look at the story, gives me a different view into the world that the original creators made, then great, it did its job. But like, if I don't like a remake for a game, that's okay. Like, if nothing else, at least the core elements of that game are being presented to new players that maybe never got a chance to play the original, that don't, have any reason to go pick up a 20-year-old game from a thrift store or whatever, like I do.
At
like,
$150.
They don't. Right, yeah, spending all that money on this game that they don't know anything about. Like, they can spend $70 on this remake, or get it on sale for $35 or whatever 2 weeks later.
And to build on what you're saying,
like,
we were doing the same bullshit to Final Fantasy VII Remake, to be fair, y'all. We were doing the same bullshit.
Yeah,
and people love that fucking game now.
There's to me, there's no reason to be upset about a remake or a remaster or whatever. People get upset about The Last of Us being remastered or remade or whatever for modern. Like, it's okay. It's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. If you are satisfied with the experience that you had with the original, then great. No one's taking that away from you. I would never take that experience away from you. Just ignore the remake.
Yeah, couldn't if you wanted to.
Yeah, ignore the remake, ignore the remaster. Like, it's okay. And maybe it's not for you, and that's okay. Like, that's one of the things that I think is the hardest for a lot of people to grasp in the internet age. We feel like everything is supposed to be for us, but like, I've just gotten very comfortable being like, not everything is for me, and like, that's cool.
And that's one of the lessons that I learned over time too. Like, looking, it's like, yes, there's no excuse not to make 2D Mario for 18 years. There's no fucking excuse to do that. But the hatred of 3D Mario, one, was fucking stupid, because it turns out there were some good 3D Mario games. Number two, not everything has to be for me. It just doesn't.
Right. There's enough for me that it would take me multiple lifetimes to get through.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get through everything that is for me. So it's totally fine if there's stuff out there that's not for me. And if like you find something that you love that I don't like, I'm just happy for you, because like, in that exchange, if I play a game and I hate it, and you play a game and you love it, in that exchange, you have come out as the victor from the beginning, because we both spent the time playing the game, but you loved it. You had a positive experience. So I'm not going to poo-poo on you for having that good experience. Like, good for you. You had a good experience with the thing. Like, that's not bad. We shouldn't like wish ill on people. Like, they should have bad experiences.
Absolutely not. Like, yeah. Absolutely.
If somebody had a good experience, great, fantastic.
I 100% agree with that. The only thing I can add to that is fuck Konami, because fuck Konami, regardless of how Silent Hill 2 turns out.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, no matter what you think about Silent Hill or the state of anything, Konami, like, Konami, fuck Konami. That's
fuck Konami. Konami is Konami, because Konami is the worst. The absolute fucking worst. Speaking of Konami is the worst, Jim Stephanie Sterling has some real concerns about, I guess, they come at the concern from a little bit of a different perspective. Their concern is that the way that Bloober Team supposedly handles mental illness. Now, I haven't played. I've got Layers of Fear. That's one of the games that's on Switch. One of the super expensive games that I blew a fuck ton of money on because I missed the limited runs thing, that I will be playing. But so I can't personally speak to this, but I know that they had some concerns around mental illness. Is a very, very tough topic to write about. And Silent Hill 2 is one of the few games that did it well. Like, one of the few games to do it well. And I think their concern is, are they going to butcher the mental illness aspect like they feel like they did on every other game they made? And what do you think?
So I've played. Yeah, I've played Layers of Fear. I don't remember enough about it to comment on how they handled the mental illness aspect of it. It's tricky, right? Like, mental illness is something, to somebody who's not suffering from a particular mental illness, is very scary, like, on its face. Like, the idea that I might think or feel or see something that isn't quote unquote real, that isn't there, is a scary experience. And so it's an easy thing to tap into as a quote unquote horror creator, to like give you that experience and treat that that mental illness as something that's like just a gimmick or whatever. I don't, I mean, if they're like they claim to be, they're claiming to be faithful to the original story of Silent Hill 2. I haven't seen anything to cause me to doubt their ability to tell the story well, to tell the story respectfully. I haven't seen anything from the trailers that have been released. Nor do I have an opinion based on their previous works to say that like they don't handle it well. I don't know. Like I said, I played Layers of Fear, but I didn't have any feeling at the time that I played it that they weren't treating it respectfully or whatever.
Gotcha.
You know.
So the intent certainly doesn't seem like they were trying to do that. So which is good, because that's a concern I can understand. But again, I'm the same way. I don't have any real avenue to say that that's happening. I just don't. Again, Jim Stephanie Sterling can be hyperbolic, let's just say, and I don't think they would even disagree with that. At times. Like they can be pretty sensationalistic at times, for sure. 100% of the time. So what else do we have going on? We've got Dynasty Warriors Return, so that's right up Jay's alley.
I'm very curious to hear if Jay's excited about that. I have not really played any Dynasty Warrior games, so I have no opinion myself. But
now I sit on this next one, but honestly, I hear great things, and that is Until Dawn Remastered. My Twitter comment was, even Until Dawn getting a remake. These guys got no shit on the shelf. But at the same time, my cousin quickly corrected me and said, "Zoo, that game was fucking phenomenal."
So let me tell you from the perspective of somebody who has played Until Dawn, on the PS4 and legitimately enjoyed Until Dawn. I thought it was
really good.
I thought it was a great experience. I played it on the PS4. Thought it was a great experience. I don't understand what's being done here with the PS5. Is it just a port? Like, it doesn't look better to me, at least. It doesn't look better than the PS4 version. It doesn't sound like they're changing anything. Are they just making a PlayStation 5 compatible version?
It looks that
way.
They
know that the PlayStation 4. They know that the PlayStation 4 is compatible with the PS5, right? Like, you can just put that disc out.
I didn't know that. I thought it last time this got a rematch. They've already re-released this fucking game, because I thought I was looking at it, it's like, 2015. Okay. But wow, they've already
no. Until Dawn was a PS4 game, original. Like, I think it was developed initially. It was going to be a PS3 game. It missed that window and became a PS4 game. So you can pop the PS4 disc for Until Dawn into your PlayStation 5 and play it. So my question is, like, why is this a game that is being highlighted in a state of play as being like a remastered experience?
That's
What's
what
remastered about it? Like, is it 4K now? Is that why it's remastered? They didn't say anything like that in the trailer. I don't know what, like, I don't want to be a hypocrite and be like, I was just saying that remakes are fine and they don't ruin your experience of the original. I'm not suggesting that the remake of Until Dawn ruins the experience of the original.
But is it a state of play game? Is it a state of play caliber?
Right. Is it a state of play game? And what's the value proposition for this remake? Should I, as somebody who has the Until Dawn right there on my shelf, like currently on the PlayStation 4, is there a compelling reason for me to buy the PlayStation 5 version of Until Dawn? I don't think so. If you have never played Until Dawn and you're into like interactive movie type experiences, it's very cool. It's a very cool, like, adventure game, interactive story style game. It's very cool. But if you already own the PlayStation 4 version, I have not been sold yet on the idea of this PlayStation 5 version.
Good, well said. And that's kind of my whole thing. And we'll get to like my ending thoughts on that. But yeah, Where Winds Meet, Infinity and Nikki, and The Ballad of Antora. These are three games that seem like they're PlayStation 5 exclusives for now. and they seem really cool. Now, I jokingly said legally distinct Nintendo game is what I called like one of those. But one looks like a really interesting Wuxia style open world game. The other looks like a really interesting Souls-like game, and then it's like Furry Pals meets Breath of the Wild with some pretty good graphics for the Yumi Nikki game, or not Yumi Nikki. It's a horror game on the PC.
Infinity Nikki. Like,
yes,
as I was watching the trailer for Infinity Nikki, I was like, this isn't for me, but like, I respect this, whatever it is. Like,
it looks good, and it's at least seems to be exclusive. So, closing thoughts.
It looks interesting.
For me, is we are in year 4 of this console. I can't stress that enough, guys. Year 4 of this console.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel like a year 4 lineup to me.
No, I'm looking at my shelf. So I have my PlayStation 4 games and my PlayStation 5 games. So I have a 3x4 cube shelf here, right? My PlayStation 4 games take up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cubes of this 12 cube shelf. My PlayStation 5 games take up 2 of them.
And my understanding is PlayStation 4 is like a legitimately great system. It is generally considered.
PlayStation 4 was a high watermark, the highest watermark since the PS2 for Sony. PlayStation 5 has not given a compelling a compelling argument for why it needs to be.
And as long as it continues to emulate Microsoft, it won't. That's the problem.
And I say that as a person that bought a PS5 day one, was happy to buy a PS5. You know, I don't regret buying a PS5. But like, if you were to show me, like, if I were to look at all the games I've played on PS5 and compare them to PS4 games, I don't know what I'm getting from the PS5, other than like eliminating load times, which is not nothing. Like, I appreciate that. I think that's significant, but it's the weakest generational shift that Sony has ever performed.
Well, and Joey Ferris, who's going to eventually be coming on the show from Game Explain, pointed out that there are diminishing, and again, he was just pointing out what Iwata said years ago and what I have been saying my entire life, Brandon, and that is that there are diminishing returns to higher graphical fidelity and higher tech. There are diminishing returns. We were at good enough two generations ago. We were at good enough. Nintendo seems to be the only company that realizes this. But the problem is Nintendo's new thing, and I keep telling people this: Nintendo's new system is not going to. It's not going to be a barn burner. It's going to be a modestly conservative, sustaining innovation that will not outsell the Switch. And I got news for everybody: that's going to be a problem for the investors, guys. If they can't make up that revenue with the movies and the theme parks, and that's what they're banking on, guys. Because they know they're not going to outsell the Switch. So that infinite growth has to come from somewhere. I'm just telling you guys. It has
we as like the core, the quote unquote core gaming community, we think that we are kind of the be all end all of the gaming space. But in reality,
expanded audience.
Nintendo makes its money, and everybody, honestly, every game company makes its money from the masses, and the masses do not feel the need to upgrade a console every generation. Like, I will be in line day one. I will have my pre-order down for the Switch 2, for the PlayStation 6, or whatever. Like, I will be first in line for those things. The vast majority of people will say, we have a Switch at home, and that Switch is the Switch, and we're just going to keep playing the Switch.
They will.
So the Switch 2 is going to get, buy-in from people like me, and maybe like some of you out there who are very invested in like the latest and greatest gaming tech. But we are not the majority of people. Like, it sounds crazy to say it and to think it, but we're not. Like, the majority of people are happy with their Switch, and they're going to be good with it for 8 more years. They're not going to need a new system.
It's part of why I've been beating the war drum that we don't need a new Switch. And in fact, I still kind of feel that way. I'm going to be honest with y'all. We are going into some very turbulent macroeconomic and geopolitical turmoil and headwinds. It's going to be severe. And I don't know, because PlayStation 5 is already showing, fuck, we're not even in the worst of it, and PlayStation 5 and Xbone or Series X are floundering. They're floundering. They're already talking about another system. I don't know what Nintendo gets out of this except potentially putting themselves in peril. I get that a lot of the techies and the core audience are ready for an upgrade. I just don't know if the world is going to be able to absorb it given what's coming. I don't know. I don't see things. And if anybody sees that the world is going to be getting better in terms of economically or the geopolitical instability going on, if you've got something to show me that you think the things are going to get better and that gaming can ride the macroeconomics in a positive direction instead of riding the macroeconomics in a negative direction, please, by all means, show me, because I would love to be wrong on this, but I don't see it. And it's, I don't know, man. I really don't know, because the problem with what's going on with them putting out these new systems is that those macroeconomic headwinds, and traditionally entertainment sector, and I always say certain segments of the entertainment sector and organized crime are typically immune to these things, but that's not showing to be true. Furiosa just showed up and fucking bombed. Furiosa is a fantastic movie. It bombed. Garfield, Eye Patch Wolf's Boogeyman, Garfield couldn't even make bank.
It's a different world. It's a different world.
It's a different world, and it's gonna be a more turbulent, and it's gonna be a scarcer world. And I just don't know if riding the macroeconomics is feasible right now, since they seem to be going in reverse. I worry about that. And I don't have nearly as sunny a disposition as a lot of people have. Now, V, who's a fellow Annie and one of my best friends, is going to be coming on later, either this weekend or later next week. And I think we're going to talk about this because she has a pet theory, V does, that the game industry, the reason why they're pushing toward live service and the gambling mechanics and the microtransactions so much is because she says that your average mass market. So traditionally, I would be correct. And she always tells me, like, Zoo, you're always talking about the expanded audience in the mass market, and you would be correct. But what you're missing is the thing you also talk about all the time, and that's the coming turbulence. Nobody has any money. They have all the money. The richest people have all the money now, Zoo. The mass market doesn't have any money anymore, which I don't know if I agree with entirely, but that's what she says. And so if the game industry sees that trend that nobody has any money except these really, really wealthy people, they're going to go after the monetization of the wealthy people who have $1,000 to throw away on Fortnite or have $2,000 to throw away on sports games. That's what they're going to go for because they have all the money. And she uses this to, and to bear this out, like she showed me a poll, and it was actually rather alarming. And essentially, what is it? It's the top 10% now have like 96% of all the wealth. Over half of Americans don't even have $1,000 in their savings account for a rainy day fund. Half the country is poor or low income. She just quotes all these things at me. And she says, you want to know why they're looking at the whales? It's because the whales are the only customers standing with money still. What do you feel about? How do you feel about that? Is that wrong? Is that right? Is that the future we're heading toward? What do we think?
I'm terrified because I think that's true, and I think that's why every game company is chasing that. That's why Concord exists. That's
basically
why whatever Microsoft
she's saying maybe they know something you don't, because they're in the industry.
What they know is I think she's by extension she's correct that Nobody has money, like the mass audience. You know, I just talked about how we feel like as the core, quote unquote, core gaming audience that we are the majority, that we're the people that Nintendo and Sony or whatever care about. We're not. Like, we're so small compared to the mass market that is not on Twitter, that is not on Discord, that is not on, you know, all these platforms. Like, they don't have the money to be buying dozens and dozens of games.
Meanwhile, that one whale that blows $2,000 on his game of choice is worth 100 of us.
Yes, so the very small percentage of people that are the quote unquote whales on the free to play market, you know, games, that's where they're making their money. So they can. So the goal for them is to put out as many of these, you know, free to play games as they can, make them as addictive and sticky as they can, and bring in the money from the 1% of gamers that have this disposable income. Like, you and I playing these free to play games, they don't care about us. We're nothing to them. Like, we are just the means to the end, which is getting these whales hooked on the game.
And this is the power dynamic. See, and that's one of the critiques Annie's have of other people that are kind of adjacent. Is a lot of people, they miss the power dynamic. They only see the profit dynamic. We are important, Branden. V will argue we're important, but we're important because the disparity is important. They don't want our money. They don't need our money. They need us to play the free to play game, even though we don't have the money. Because if
they need us to get beat by the rich people.
Not only beat
that are going to be buying.
Not only beat, they need that rich guy needs to be able to show off his special outfit or the special card pull he had. That's important.
Who is he impressing if not us?
Exactly. If we're not there, he has nobody to show his swag off to. And if he has nobody to show his swag off to, why the fuck is he there? And that's that is the final piece to the Annie the Anarchist puzzle. It's a common refrain that capitalists do it for the money. We're past that, guys. It's not always about the money. It's not always about the money. Sometimes they already have. What is money to somebody who already has all the money they could ever spend? It's not about the money. It's about power. And it's about disparity. That's what it's actually about. Now, it can be about the money too, but for the people we're talking about, they already have more money than they can spend in a lifetime. They want the disparity. That all that money is worth nothing if there's not a difference between what they can access with that money and what you can access with that money. It's the power.
That's some heavy shit. Zoo. I'll tell you what.
Oh, Branden, we're gonna have to have it. Yeah. There's a reason why. And V could tell you a whole lot more about this. I'm giving you like the baby brain shit. Like,
yeah, you gotta have her on. I'm very interested.
The three of us will have to get together for a talk. There's 2 talks I've already had with V. V's like a best friend in real life. V actually knows the real Zoo guys. She actually knows me.
Oh, interesting.
And she has read so much more on this than I have. She's the one who got me onto David Graeber. She's reading scary ass shit on domestication right now is what she's reading on. She's reading on domestication. That's a place I can't bring myself to go because it's fucking scary, man. And the whole theory on it is that domestication's worthy of study because they don't just domesticate livestock, Branden. That's the working theory. All of the stuff, all the tactics and techniques of domestication that they utilize, you will literally find, and this is the bone chilling part, you'll find those same tactics and those same practices mirrored and altered for human populations. It's domestication. And again, I can't bring myself to get there yet, but she's there. She's reading some wild stuff. And I don't know. I don't know. There's a certain point I won't go because I have to be happy in life. I guess.
Yeah, my thing is like we talk about some heavy topics. We cover some heavy stuff. We've covered some heavy stuff here tonight.
Yeah, yeah. And again,
but my
I'm
thing
fearless,
is,
man. If you bring it up, I'll talk about it.
Well, yeah, and I'm happy to talk about whatever. But like, we're only guaranteed this one life, and and that's what I say to get, because I don't know what happens after.
I'm glad someone's glad someone's looking into it, but I don't know if it can be.
I'm confident that I can say we're only guaranteed this one life.
Yes.
So while I have this one life, I'm going to try to have the most enjoyable one that I can. I'm not going to, cause harm to anyone, but I'm going to have the most enjoyable one that I can without causing harm to anyone. And that's my
well, and it's been mentioned. It's like, you don't like knowing, do you? I'm like, I do, but there's a limit, because there's only so much I can do about any of this. Even as a wealthy person, there's only so much I can do about this. This is way beyond me. A lot of what is being talked about, it's way beyond me.
Yes.
It is what it is, but it is good. It is good to kind of bolster your knowledge with that, to just be like, because a lot of times you'll look at the things and you're like, that's stupid motherfuckers. Why are you doing this? Like, because if you're looking at it straight from a monetary perspective, it doesn't make sense, some of it. But when you start to look at it from that other perspective, from the perspective of someone who already has all that money and they don't need it anymore, they're looking for something else. Suddenly the dots start to connect. Yeah, and that very well could be what's happening in gaming.
I can see that.
I hope not, because that doesn't spell a great future for console gaming for sure. But
certainly not.
Time will tell. But alrighty. I guess that's. Oh yeah, let's finish the comments off, and then I'll let you see if you have any questions for me, and then I guess we'll wrap up. 3:15. You're getting awfully close to the record. Let's see who has it. I think Nish has it currently. Yeah, we ain't gonna get there, but well, we might. Who knows? 3:48:30. So he just beat Emily out.
Wow.
Yeah, Nish quick did. So Brooke Barnes says, I will let you know the next stream when I find my Discord handle. Yeah, awesome. Brooke, everybody's gonna love you on here. I promise. We're gonna have fun. We're definitely gonna have fun talking. Rush Dog says, do you have a turbo or PC engine mini, Branden, that has Yeez Book 1 and 2 and airs on?
Yeah, I almost got the turbo mini. I wish I had. I did not. I don't know if they're even still available anymore. Are they still?
Let me see here.
Looking on Amazon real quick. No, like from third-party sellers for inflated prices.
Oh no!
Heavily inflated prices,
see, damn it! I missed that boat on that. Too.
I wish I'd just done it. Yeah, I wish I'd just done it, but I hesitated and didn't do it.
Now, Brooke Barnes says, and talk time and stuff then. Yeah, you just let me know, and Branden and anybody who's been on Liquored Up Live will let you know. Within reason, I am extraordinarily flexible. Like, I don't think there's a single guest I'm not just, hey, name a time, as long as I don't have shit going on, we'll do it.
I named this time. That's all
it takes. You just name a time.
What time works for you? I said, how about this day? He's like, let's do it.
I check it on my calendar, and if we're good, and even if we're not good, like there's times where I'll be like, hey, honey, this okay? She's like, yeah, sure. I'm reading. Sure.
He'll make it work.
Excellent point, Branden. The state of play audience absolutely wouldn't care about a PC port of a 2022 God of War game. Yeah. And not to mention, here's the dirty little secret. So he doesn't understand. They already pirated that shit years ago anyway. Like, yeah, they already pirated it. There's a good segment of the PC audience. It's a problem in PC. It is a genuine problem. This is not the place it's not as lucrative as people think it is, the console people. It's really not. Because we will emulate it and we will pirate it. And who's gonna stop us, Pipsqueak? There's not enough lawyers, not enough Nintendo and Sony ninjas in the world to stop us. What are you gonna do about it, Pipsqueak? Nothing. Unless you're one of the people hosting the ROMs, they'll fuck you. But they ain't gonna do nothing to me for pirating. That's why it's One Piece up in here. Let's see. Sony and Microsoft list lost me at X86. And then Rush Dog says, look at how good the 1,000-Year Door remake was. Yeah, it's good. That's the level of quality we should be seeing for a Silent Hill 2 remake. Yeah, but it's Konami, Rush. Like, I think you're expecting it's Konami, man. Like, no. But who knows? Let's see what Bloober Team.
I don't know. I'm gonna stake my claim. I'm gonna stake my claim on the Silent Hill 2 remake being good or great. I'm gonna say it's gonna be great. And if I'm wrong, then that's fine. I'm wrong about a thing that doesn't really, like, my perspective is I'm fine making these bold statements about things that don't really matter in the long run. Like, if I'm right, then great. I'm right about this thing that's fun. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong about a thing that doesn't really matter. Here's the fun of it.
So. No, and this is the people, the shameless people that we talked about, they understand this. Nobody remembers when you're wrong. They only remember when you're right. By the way. They only remember when you're right. You know why? Because most people are wrong most of the time. It's not notable when someone's wrong about something. We're fucking wrong about everything all the time. It's notable when you get something right. You can get something right a few times and make a reputation on it. I'm still fucking crowing about getting 2025 Switch 2 right. I'm still crowing about that. Still crowing about that. And because of that, I don't crow about all the time, and you don't crow about the times you're wrong. Everybody remembers when you're right. But that's why I also say okay. It's okay to be wrong.
Michael Pachter made a career out of that, right?
Michael Pachter did. Oh my God, I love you for that. Yeah, Michael Pachter, and now what's the new guy I pick on? Matt Piscatella is the new guy I've been picking on a lot. Xbox boy. Still fucking being a press release mouth for fucking Xbox. Can you imagine in 2024? Can you imagine in 2024 being a mouth for Xbox? Shame. Seriously, you don't have any. Can you you can on PC SX2? I don't know what that is, Mike. Can you elaborate on that? I don't want to sound like a dummy. I just don't know what that is. Until Dawn is joining The Last of Us Part 1 and 2 for the completely unnecessary PS4 and PS5 remakes club, Rush Dog says. Mike Clark says, agreed, Rush. And then, yeah, PS4 has a physical version of Battle Garega Zoo. Just saying, yeah, don't remind me. Like, yeah, it has Battle Garega. And a really good, and M2, I think, did that one too, the Shot Triggers. M2 Shot Triggers is amazing developer for shoot 'em up games. So yeah, if I do ever get a PS4, that's like the first game I'll get. So yeah, you rub it in. Did Sony and Microsoft just not consider the cost and time developing games for PS5 series? That's a good question, Mike. I don't think that I think they thought about it, but I think they thought, see, they don't listen. They don't listen to the graph, the zoo graph I always show, that the overshooting the market. They overshot the market is what happened, Mike. And the Switch did. That's the thing. They overshot the
market. Everybody has their expectations set at the level of a Fortnite or some sort of sticky, multiplayer game. But they're not making that kind of game. So like Square Enix says Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or Final Fantasy 16 sales are disappointing or not where they want them to be. That's because their expectations are set at this level for the sort of game that it's just not. That's not what they're selling.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest problems with the modern console generations is the amount of money it takes to develop these games, these AAA experiences, require them to have the sort of, sales of a Fortnite or a game like that, a sticky sort of game like that. But they're not that. They're a different thing. They need to budget better. They need to dial back their technology and the expectations that they have to suit the market that they're actually selling to.
Yes.
Like, I'm not a Fortnite guy. If you want to sell to me you're going to need to sell me something that's not Fortnite. And unfortunately, the people that are like me, that like the sorts of games I like, we do not come anywhere near close to the size of the Fortnite market.
We don't.
We're nowhere near that size. Nowhere near that size.
Fortnite is just cultural. It's cultural on another level, man. It just is. It really is. Just amazing how that game took off. That's one I never would have saw coming. I saw Minecraft coming. I saw Minecraft coming. I saw the Switch coming. I saw the Wii coming. I missed Fortnite. It was totally beyond the kind of games I typically look for. And that's the game that is that mega hit. It's the game that nobody really sees coming. It is. I guess that's why I should have known Power World wasn't going to be it, because we all saw Power World coming. We knew Power World was going to be this thing, and it was a fart in the wind.
I forgot about that. Yeah, now that you mentioned that, that's
Power World. Oh, I was also on there. By the way, Zoo was wrong on Power World, guys. Completely wrong. Completely wrong. I thought that was going to be a disruptive thing, using generative AI, and fart in the wind. Just goes to show you, it's okay to be wrong. To be honest, the Saturn had a better lineup in year 4. Ow. I knew somebody on the hub, Super NES Hub, named Kiko, wrote a website. By the way, if you guys have never been to RVG, R as in Ralph, V as in Victor, G as in girl, RVG Fanatic, that's another one of those old school SNES and Sega Saturn sites. He writes, and he actually inspires my writing in many ways, and he writes these long retrospective articles on video games where he connects with himself. You'll see a lot of my style. You'll see it in RVG, and he did it first. And this guy is an incredible archive of writing. So check out old school brother from SNES Hub, RVG Fanatic, one of the first SNES and Sega Saturn fan channels out there, literally like part and parcel with like GameFAQs and 4chan back in those days. And he was writing about these games back then. Like, he's one of the people that inspired me to get into writing. Check out Kiko. He's Kiko on GameFAQs and on SNES Hub, and the site is RVG Fanatic. Anyway, here's my shout out to an old brother. He says, go for the PC Engine Mini, Brandon. I think you can get that on PlayAsia still, and I think it's in English. I think that's why he mentions that. Oh, yeah, there is. It has half its game is in English, including Ys 1 and 2, is cheaper and smaller than the TG16 Mini. So there's a great...
I'm looking it up.
Yeah. And then he says, Brandon makes a great point. The market isn't big enough for more than a handful of Fortnite-level games. It just isn't. And then he says, Brandon throwing shade, LOL. I have to love it. And then he says, PC SX2 is a PS2 emulator, a really good one. Oh,
yeah. Now that you say that, I think I have encountered that before.
Yeah. Oh, that I will have to check out. Rush Dog says, I forgot about RVG Fanatic. Just check this site. He's still active in 2024. Yeah, I check him about once a month, Rush Dog. That's a blog I will never stop reading. And if you read his writing, you will see a lot of my writing style in terms of how I connect games with like past experiences. I'm very nostalgic. That comes from RVG Fanatic and my love of that website. Everything comes from somewhere. Everything comes from somewhere, and that's part of my inspiration. And Mike Clark says, every game cannot be a 10+ million seller. It drives me insane. Yep, but that's what they plan for, and that's what they budget for, and that's why the industry looks in the absolute state it's in. So, all righty. Well, that's going to wrap up the super chats for now. They're really driving this one, Brandon, which is good. Which is good. That's how you get the records. That's how you do it. That's how Emily did it. That's how Nish did it. And we are.
I'll tell you, like, I don't know where Nish is based, but I know Emily's on like West Coast, and she's got the advantage of being 2 hours behind. I'm like, I got to get up early tomorrow, and I'm looking at 11:30.
Yeah, we gotta wrap. We gotta wrap this, guys. You guys gotta let us wrap this. But we're at your mercy. Now, did you have any questions for me, Branden, before we got off of here?
Oh gosh, I think we covered most anything that I would want to talk about, and I feel like I know you well enough by now that I don't have any outstanding ones at the moment. Maybe next time I will. We'll see.
Okay. Well, it'll definitely be a next time because fuck, give it a couple months and we'll have another almost 4-hour conversation. It's easy. It's easy, man.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
It comes natural for us. So Brooke Barnes says bye, and Rush Dog says RBG Fanatics sold me on TMNT Tournament Fighters. Yes. Amazing game for the SNES, but I think that's gonna wrap it up. I think we're gonna let Branden mercifully go to bed. I got a fucked up day tomorrow because of this, but you know what? It's Friday, so they can deal with it. So
it's worth it. It's worth it.
It's well worth it. But well, I don't know because the Hennessy XO is not going to hang over me, but it's mixed in with some sweet stuff too. So I don't know what the fuck's going to happen tomorrow. I guess we'll find out.
We'll see.
All right. Well, that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for the flowers and the compliments. A lot of flowers and compliments tonight. Even though we dealt with some material that would usually lose me some subs, and I appreciate that. I appreciate it, guys. Again, we're fearless here. You ask and you will receive. So if I do go into territory that's controversial, it's your fucking fault most of the time. Not all the time, because sometimes I step in it myself. But I love you guys. Take care. We're going to have a good night. We're going to have a good weekend. I'm going to go ahead and sign Branden off, go into the after show denouement that you guys don't get to come to. Love y'all. Get the fuck out of here. Go enjoy the rest of your evening. What little is left of it.
Night, everybody.